What is up, everybody? We're getting started a little bit early. Um, Obviously, we're always going to have like a solid 5-10 minutes before we get started. So I'm going to take a couple minutes just to explain what the game plan is for these. Um, this is something new we've never done before. Last year we did playback, if you guys remember, after games, and it was very much like let's check out some film, let's take some callers, let's hang out, let's have some fun. I have several goals for this particular style of stream. One is for all the stuff we do that is game reaction content. It's always difficult when you don't have a visual representation, and it's impossible to capture the entirety of a game in a game reaction. So, what would be cool is, well, what if we got to watch a game together and kind of break it down as things go along? So that's the idea with this. We can talk about the games, talk about the strategic adjustments, talk about the flow of the game. And the second side of it is I want to have it be more fun. Obviously, the game reaction content that we do can be very analytical. It can be very much let's break things down. I want us to be fans. I want to be a fan. We're going to cover a lot of Laker games. We're going to cover some national TV games too. My guess is that it'll be a lot of Lakers games and a lot of really big national TV games. So, for instance, next week on Friday night, we're going to be doing Spurs Warriors. That'll be a fun national TV game for us to do. And when I see things like that, like we were going to launch yesterday with, if you guys remember, we were going to launch with Warriors Nuggets. We decided not to because of the Steph Curry illness. But we're going to target some big games like that. But there's going to be a lot of Lakers games. And as you guys know, I root for the Lakers and I intend to come on here and have fun and be a fan. I'm not going to sit there and play super stoic analyst guy. I'm going to come up here and have some fun and be a fan of the team that I'm rooting for. And another big part of this is going to be interaction. We're going to have a lot of callers. We'll probably be taking callers during commercial breaks and during halftime and stuff like that. We have flexibility. If those of you guys have any, those of you guys are watching on YouTube, you're obviously just getting the commentary side of it, and many of you will be watching on your TVs at home. But over on playback, we are going to have the stream up on the screen. So if you want to watch with the video in the background, make sure you guys head over to playback. I'm going to be periodically peeking over at the chat to take questions, things along those lines. Well, if you ever want to get up on stage to talk, make sure you send in your requests. I'll be taking callers during, like I said, during commercial breaks. I don't, to be very clear up front, I don't want this to be podcasting. That's not the idea. So I want to make sure that we're watching the game. And so when we get into the ball in play, I want to focus on the game and talk about what's happening. I don't want to be like game planning trades and shit when we're supposed to be watching the game, right? So I want to keep it very focused on that and kind of bounce back and forth in stoppages with more of the around the league type stuff. And we also have the freedom to kind of bounce around. So, if this game, for instance, the Hawks are down a bunch of guys, the Lakers are down a bunch of guys too, but they have one of the best guys and the Hawks don't. So there's a chance. We'll talk about this game in a minute. I think it's going to be more competitive than people think, but there's a chance this gets out of hand. And if it does, we'll just switch over to a different game in the 6 p.m. slate. We'll be going till at least at least I'm saying 8:30. I'm in Denver, so I should give you guys some more specifics. We'll be going to at least 7:30 Pacific time tonight, regardless of what happens with this game. We can bounce around the rest of the league if we need to. But again, this is my first time doing this. This is going to be it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be some bumps along the way. There's going to be some clunkiness, but we're going to figure it out together as a team, and we're going to have a lot of fun with this. We're going to be doing this twice a week throughout the entire season. This is something that I'm very, very excited about, and building some momentum with you guys. Just to give you guys an idea of the schedule too for the next week. Because we only went once this week, we're going to go 3 times next week. So we're going to start with Thunder Lakers on Wednesday, which I anticipate could be a little bit of an ass kicking, but it'll be a fun one. It'll a nice little measuring stick test for the Lakers. Then on Friday night, Spurs Warriors, and then on Saturday night, Lakers Bucks in Milwaukee, a team in Milwaukee that's been a royal pain in the ass to play this year because of their combination of rim pressure and shooting. So that should be a fun one as well. I will continue to update you guys as we go along. We will maintain a little bit of flexibility. So for instance, if we plan on, Spurs Warriors and then Wemby sits out or something like that. We may switch to a different game. We may do something different. I want to make sure we maintain flexibility and cover the games that are more interesting. But again, just kind of keep an eye. My Twitter feed is where I'm most active at _JasonLT. That's where I'm giving you guys the most updates and announcements and things along those lines. Again, we're going to start taking callers here shortly. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. I see a bunch of you guys starting to pile in here. We will start taking callers at the first commercial break. So make sure you guys send in your requests and we'll go from there. A couple of thoughts on this particular game. I'm a little worried as someone who's rooting for the Lakers, just because this Atlanta Hawks team is very much a defense to transition type of team with Trae Young being out of the lineup. There's a bunch of guys who are out. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Trae Young, obviously with the sprained MCL. Jalen Johnson's out tonight. Kristaps Porzingis is out tonight. I was thinking with Kristaps Porzingis, they'd see a lot of drop coverage. I wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta does more switching, which could tax the ISO talent for this Lakers team, which is basically just Luka when Austin and LeBron are out. Bad transition defense. This is a team that if you are sloppy against, they can run it down your throats and get a bunch of buckets. They're also coming off of a loss last night, so expect them to play with a lot of effort. I think this is going to be a tough game, but if the Lakers take care of their business, if Luka controls the tempo, if Luka doesn't turn the basketball over, they should be in good position to go to 8-2. And by the way, if the Lakers win tonight, they will be in sole possession of the second best record in the NBA, which is absolutely shocking considering the guys that have been in and out of the lineup over the course of the start of this season. And I am cautiously optimistic that here in about a week or two, we should be able to get to see this team with LeBron as well. All right. This is going to be fun, guys. I'm very, very excited. If anybody's having any questions or issues or anything of any kind, make sure you drop them in the chat. I'll do my best to kind of track that as we're going along. And remember, if you're on YouTube and you want to see a video version, head over to playback. All right. So their little cross screen for Ayton, and he loses the handle, and Okongwu gets it. I'm really curious to see how Atlanta is going to try to score tonight. Little double drag into a wide pin down. Zachary Rissachet has been doing some work lately. He had a really big game the other night. Nice little baseline drive there. Little high ball screen for Marcus. They switch it. Like I said, he just rolled right behind him. One of the things, again, like I talked about earlier with Porzingis out, I'd be looking at the Hawks doing a lot more switching than they would typically do. Rissachet's got like a little bit more wiggle and pop to his off the dribble game than people think, considering he was kind of like viewed as more or less of a weak side scorer coming into the draft. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot more of him putting the ball on the floor in this game. Wow, Zachary Rissachet was sinking way in that low man position. Nice find from Luka. Jake just misses the open look. So we're seeing a couple sloppy kind of like sequences with cutters and transition pushing. Luka got beat backdoor by Dyson Daniels. There's another little transition push. That's going to be the kind of stuff that's going to cost. Wow. Mohamed Gay got caught with his eyes glued to the ball, and Rui just cut right behind him. And in a goaltending, right? Okay, there we go. But yeah, that's going to be, if the Lakers end up losing this game, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be that kind of like transition pushing, back cutting, just ball and player movement, just catching them off guard because they're not bringing the requisite effort. Yeah, dark times for Atlanta Hawk fans when Keaton Wallace is the guy running your offense here to start the game. Little kick ahead. Rui Hachimura is shooting the shit out of the basketball to start the season. He is at he was coming into the night 16 for 23 on unguarded catch and shoot threes, according to Synergy. That was an impromptu double team from Luka, but Ayton rotated out of it for him. Another back cut and another bucket. So Lakers are giving up 2 easy back cuts and an easy transition push here early, just a little sloppy. Ice. Remember how ice is a ball screen they funneled to the sideline? They had both guys up at the level. Luka just shot over it. Not a great shot. A little bit of an unnecessary overhelp from Jake LaRavia there. I thought Luka had that under control. Trade Rui straight up for Wemby. Who says no? From Aronov. Another transition layup. Very, very sloppy to start here for the Lakers. Some overhelp, some not tracking man and ball, not getting back in transition. This is the kind of thing that I think could cost them this game if they're not careful. I saw Mike is hanging out. Mike, do you have any answer for Jeffo who says his Australian League Pass doesn't allow him to watch the game with you? Is there anything that you've seen with that? The horn set, post entry to Rui into a widescreen for Luka. Once again, switching. So now Luka's got Gay on him. He's got to give him a bucket. Let's see what he goes to. Step back three, same spot. Hit that one. Luka beating switches is going to be big tonight. Keaton Wallace back cut. Versace coming off the curl. Rui goes under. They sink way in off the corner again. Marcus Smart there. They're sinking. They started doing this in the Spurs game too. The Lakers have been really helping off the corners. They're giving up a lot of good looks there from the corner. Another blitz there. Nice short roll read from Marcus Smart from Ayton. Just smoked the three. Dude, Jake LaRavia is a little scrapper. He gets to the loose balls a lot. Another step back over Rissache. That one was a little bit further out, a little short. Once again, Luka roaming like crazy off the corner there. Another wide open look. Yeah, 17 points in less than 4.5 minutes against this Atlanta Hawks roster with how many guys they have out. Not great. That's a tough left shoulder fade. Good defense from Keaton Wallace. He didn't give ground and he disrupted his base. Corner three or wing three from Rissache. What? That's a weird call. That's just two guys fighting for a loose ball, man. Come on, back the hell off. Nothing bothers me more than Greer. We're doing good right now. I'm going to start taking callers here when we get to the first commercial break. I believe we're up and running on both platforms and everything's good. I think we're up. I'm seeing all the YouTube symbols, so I'm assuming our stream on YouTube is working. And let's get to our first caller here. All right, KD6, when you get up here, what's your takes, man? How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
What's up, man? What are your thoughts?
Wanted to well, I mean, for this game, yeah, I kind of shared the same sentiment you did. This is like a classic trap game. They're second night of a back-to-back. It's a team that likes to run, likes to play switchy defensively, especially without Porzingis. It's one of those games that Lakers could definitely lose if they just don't lock in and like take hold of it. I wanted to ask you because the Spurs, De'Aaron Fox is about to make his season debut here. What are your thoughts long term on Fox with the Spurs? And because they got, point guard wise, they got Stephon Castle, who I don't think he's a true point guard per se. I think he kind of functions more as like a connecting two guard type. Um, and then Dylan Harper, who I'm super high on, I think is the point guard of the future. So, what's your take on Fox' future with the Spurs?
Yeah, it's so funny because this is why we never overreact to the first few games of the season, because you watch those first few games of the season and the Spurs played a really light schedule to start, but they were kicking everybody's butt. And you're like, oh, like Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper, Devin Vassell, this is the guard core of the future. Everything's good. And then all of a sudden the Phoenix and Lakers games happen and the Rockets game happen, and all three of those games they start the guards kind of cool off. They're facing some pretty aggressive unders. Like when they're coming off of action, all
Yeah.
those dudes except for Devin Vassell are facing pretty aggressive unders, which is basically daring them to take pull-up jump shots that they don't want to take. And then all their ISOs for Wemby have been double teamed, and they've been turning the ball over a lot and not scoring on them quickly. Although they're starting to figure some stuff out over their last couple of games, and so what sticks out in a big way is like they're wanting to initiate offense through Wemby, and he's struggling to figure out the doubles, which obviously he's going to have to figure out. But right now, they don't really have another great way to attack in a reliable sense. And so having De'Aaron Fox come in who can run ball screens to where if you want to key in on Wemby there, Fox is going to kill you. And he's probably going to get set up with a lot more opportunities in the pocket to score easily. So I think what Wemby's missing right now is easy offense generated by a teammate, and I think De'Aaron Fox is going to be helpful with that a lot. Now, in the big picture, De'Aaron's 27, so like you could keep him for 2 years, and it's not like he's not going to be a tradable asset at 29. De'Aaron Fox is still going to be a good player at 29, so they can take advantage of his talent level right now. And then they can look to move him once the younger guards are ready. And that's a big chunk of salary that they could flip into, picks or, useful role player talent, expiring contracts for cap space, whatever they want to do at that point in time.
Yeah, no, I think I agree. Like overall, like you said, it's right now they're definitely missing that element of and speaking of, I have the game on, he just got a crazy steal, but just that element of like true consistent creation because they just I mean they don't have it outside of Wemby. And even Wemby is like I think one of the things with Wemby too that uh I didn't take into account because a lot of bigs like all superstar bigs face that like oh you're gonna see doubles and traps and whatnots, but like Embiid that was a big thing for him in the playoffs, like having to work through that. I think what's different for Wemby is that because of his frame, you can put wings on him rather than having to actually put a big on him and
Yep.
and kind of function to like run the same type of send doubles consistently at him. So it's I think even more so for him, he does need that second creator, and Fox does give that for now. So
Yeah, he's perfect. He's a perfect option in the short term, and I think he's a good fit too, as like a kind of an aggressive. Like you talked about him steal. He earned the nickname. He earned the nickname Swipa for a reason. He's a
yeah, yeah,
aggressive turnover forcing guard, which I think complements rim protection really well. And yeah, and like they're gonna figure out the stuff with Wemby. Like these are good problems. Like, oh man, they're putting two guys on our star every single possession. That's a good problem. That's a problem that you can turn into points if you know how. And they started to figure out some stuff like they're putting Steph Castle in the dunker spot more instead of having him spot up. They're consistently putting him at the elbow versus on the block, which is allowing him to get easy passing reads because there's just that easy swing to the opposite wing or the easy swing to the corner on his drives, and that'll just give him some opportunities to get easy passing reads out of those doubles. But hey, man, thanks for coming on to hang out. We're going to get back to the game for a little bit. Feel free to request later if you want to. Anybody else, if you guys want to get up to come on the next commercial break, let me know.
yeah. Appreciate it.
All right. All right, lost for Sachet on a baseline out of bounds. They've given up 21 points now in 6 minutes. So Lakers definitely trying to ease their way through this one. Running stack. See how Dalton's trying to back screen there. Luka, that was well defended by the Hawks. Get matched up. Slow down step, and Ayton just slaps it out of bounds. That was really well defended on that stack pick and roll there on the other end of the floor. Cargo didn't get caught up on it too much. They stayed attached to Luka. They rotated to the shooter. Well, very well defended there. Mike, I'm not sure if this is a an option, but is it possible for me to actually use my mouse to like annotate on the screen, or is that not an option? Like to point at stuff. That was a terrible post entry from Rui Hachimura. Not the best. Oh, great steal from Luka, and no one else. Wow, Ayton swatted the hell out of that, but he came down a little too aggressively. Aronoff, you see that they just had a timeout. At a certain point, there's not any yelling that the coach can do. It's like these guys just they got to start getting back on defense and stop tricking off possessions with silly mistakes. And it's the hardest thing. There's like a mental engagement and a physical engagement, and it's just really hard to do when you don't feel competitively challenged. And for whatever reason, they've convinced themselves that this is going to be easy, and it's just not. And now they've dug themselves into what's about to be an 11 point hole, and that's going to be hard to get out of before the end of this one. All right, so you have three pretty knockdown shooters alongside Ayton here, so they should have good spacing. They're going to go to a double drag, reverse the angle there. They switch it. So once again, there's a switch. Luka's got to beat the switch. Just barbecued Okongwu. Just absolutely fried him. Did you see him lose his balance there on the right side? Okay, so no annotation. So I can't point with the mouse, but I'm just going to try to use the player names as best as I can, guys. And again, we're seeing a good amount of switching in pick and roll from Atlanta here, which is just going to put a lot of pressure on Luka. But this is the thing: like if Luka does his job, which is generate quality shots against the switching look, and if the other guys do their job, which is like get back in transition defense, don't turn the basketball over and spark transition opportunities, don't overhelp out of the corner, get late closeouts on the right shooters, tight closeouts on the good shooters, and just kind of do your job. This is very much like a get a professional win on the road type of game. This is 2-3 zone look here. Lakers have run a lot more zone to start this year. Nice skip pass there after they got some dribble penetration. Another switch. How are they going to attack it? Luka ISO. Looks like Aiton's trying to get a seal there. They tried to scram him out of it, and Dalton gets a look. The thing that's driving me nice rebound and finish from Ayton. Remember, that's another way to beat a switch is through the offensive glass, and Ayton's done a lot of work on the offensive glass to start this season. One of the things that's driving me crazy with Dalton with his shooting is he's leaving everything short, and I've long been of the opinion, especially when you're in a slump, if you're going to miss long, shoot it with conviction. It's when you start kind of alligator arming it and like pulling your wrist back at the end, and you start leaving it short. That's where you can have some really bad misses, and it can start to get in your head. And yes, I agree, Dorian. Truly pathetic defense from the Lakers to start this one. There's 26 points in 5.5 minutes, or in 6.5 minutes with this level of talent on the. I guess it's 7.5. Not great. Not great, guys. All right, let's see what the Hawks run here. A little guard screen for Keaton Wallace against the zone up top again. So both of those threes that they got came off of interior penetration against the zone. And then there's another problem with the zone offensive rebounding. You could tell JJ Redick's just trying to find something to get a stop here and not working so far. 5 points in 2 possessions against the zone. Another switch, and Luka gets Gay for reaching in there with that kind of low gather move. Dude's been in a slump for the entire calendar year. I agree, Harkin. It's been a rough one. This is a guy that, like, as a rookie, shot pretty good percentage on pretty good volume from three, and for whatever reason, he just has had, like, one of the most extended stretches of yips I've ever seen. Um, JJ kept telling everybody that he was shooting the laces off of the ball or the seams off the ball in practice. So, I don't know, I don't know why it's not translating yet, but it just hasn't been. All right, our first Vando sighting. JJ keeps grasping at straws to try to get something going here. Vando took a good angle there, back to a man-to-man look here. Another overhelp from Laravia. Got to be careful. And Vit Krejci just hit a three. They're very lucky that one didn't go in. Decent closeout at the end. Nice catch, Jackson. Nice kick out. Switch, no blitz. Got to get it back to Dalton. Shoot the damn ball. Extra pass, extra pass. Oh, see, that's just like, Luka's one of the best at that, so you're not going to get too much on him. But that was kind of a weird processing mistake from Luka. He waited just long enough that opportunity went away. All right, Jake's got to get a bucket here. Late clock. Slow down step. Got him. Jake's got like a little bit of that, like, oh, you need me to rescue this possession by getting a basket. I can make it happen kind of thing going for him and showing it here early. Just patient. Slow down step. All right. So for all the disaster, they're only down 8. Let's see what the Hawks got here. Still in a man-to-man look. Screen switch. Dyson against Luka. Beats him to the spot. Vando helping off the corners again. See, the Lakers are getting torched for sinking too far in off of the corners. Not pretty here to start. And we got a timeout. All right, we have a caller. Anybody got a? You guys don't have to request to get on stage either. If you want, you can just ask questions in the chat, and we can go from there. Let's take a look at the chat here. Jason, who's better, Luka or MJ? Growing up in Arizona, were you ever a Phoenix Suns fan? So it's hard to explain. Like the Suns never did a very good job of marketing to Tucson, which is kind of bizarre because Tucson is like literally a million people. It's like 1.1 million people in the metro area, and they have lots of sports fans. It's a basketball town. That's where the Arizona Wildcats play. But for whatever reason, they just didn't do much marketing down there. They just kind of do their own thing. It's only an hour and a half down the road too. Like it's easy. Like us Tucsonans back when I lived there. I live in Colorado now, but when I lived in Arizona, in Tucson, like you drive up to Phoenix regularly, to, like go to concerts or to like, go to watch the Arizona Diamondbacks play. But the Diamondbacks, like they had the Sidewinders, their AAA team down in Tucson forever. They would play spring training games down in Tucson. They did a lot to like market to the Tucson area. So for whatever reason, the Suns didn't. So the entire town was very much like an Arizona Wildcats town. And the football team was terrible for the longest time. And we don't invest any money in the we don't invest any money in the football program. So like we had this coach that came through a few years back who gave us like our best season in like decades, and then he immediately left for Washington because Arizona didn't want to pay him. So like that's the kind of stuff that happens there. But like, hey, our Arizona basketball is perennially great. We have very high expectations there. That's very much been like the kind of galvanizing force in that town. Jason, have you been doing Olympic cleans to increase vert? So I am very much of the opinion that vertical leaping is a combination of basically 3 things: strength and flexibility. So get in the weight room, build up your leg strength, make sure you stay flexible. But the third piece of it is like go out and jump. Go out and jump. Like literally just go out and dunk the basketball over and over again, or try to do it as many times as you can. The more and more you jump, the more you'll work on your fast twitch fibers. If that's box jumps, if that's jumping on a ledge outside your house, if that's going to the basketball court and just trying to dunk everything. Like I always found for me, I actually learned it when I went on a JUCO workout at a school called Cochise in Arizona. It was kind of a basketball factory out there. I ended up not going there, but when I went on a visit, they they were just having their dudes in their workouts just dunk, 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 just rip through dunk, because it just basically forces you to become more explosive. And even if you're not dunking, it helps you when you're finishing layups. Like layup finishing is every bit as much about just getting up over the top of whatever you're trying to score against than it is about any sort of touch. All right, back to the game. Horn set, little flare screen, slip from Dalton. Good defense, good verticality from Krejci there, but Dalton stays strong and finishes. All right, Nick Smith Jr. is getting his first little bit of action here. Jackson switching onto Keaton Wallace. Little short jumper. Good defense. Kept him in front. Little ball screen in transition. All the bodies with him. Draws a foul. Vando's jumper looks better. I'm waiting for it to start going in, but maybe I'm just keeping my hopes too high there. Arizona is this is from BC. Arizona is a cursed sports state. Phoenix Suns have been to more finals and conference finals than any franchise and hasn't won a title. Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal. And then the Kevin Durant experiment did not go very well, did it, guys? All right. All right, Luka has a chance to cut it to 7 here. Down to 7. All right, here we go. Dyson Daniels running point. Quick screen and switch on to Luka. Another screen and switch on to Vando, but now Gay's got Luka, so he's going to try to post him. Good D. Over helping off the corners, guys. I didn't think Luka was in much trouble there. Random double team. Oh, that was a really nice gap closeout from Keaton Wallace there. See how he kind of closed out between Nick Smith and the corner? That basically puts Nick Smith in this weird situation where he feels a closeout. So he thinks someone's chasing him off the line, but he's actually not. He's actually open, and it got him to hesitate. And now when he goes to shoot, he has no rhythm. It's like a rhythm breaking closeout. This is from Lonzetta. How you like in Denver? Moved here from Houston. Love it. I'm loving it so far. I'm dying for some snow to fall on the mountains. It's I went skiing twice a couple weeks ago in late October to Keystone. Breckenridge opened on Friday. I haven't made it out there yet, but I think I might go on Monday or Wednesday once we get done with the show. But like it's just every one of these places has like one run open with all man-made snow, and it's fine. It's skiing. It's scratching the itch. You know, I'm listening to some music while I go down. I'm still having a great time, but I am missing like the real skiing when you can like traverse the mountain, hit some higher quality blues and blacks that are groomed, and I'm definitely missing that part. All right, let's see. Switching the stack pick and roll. Lucas scores a quick bucket on Krejci. So that's a really well defended sequence there. Just a tough shot from Luka. Little transition push Jackson. Good D. Hey, Lakers offering a little bit of resistance now. Ooh. Dalton from last year would have shot that. Blitzing. Jackson's on the roll. Nice kick out. Extra pass to Vando. Oh, it looks good, guys. It looks good. Why isn't it going in yet? It looks better. It's so much more crisp and quick than it was last year. Good close out from Vando. Slow down that rotation. Oh, Nick Smith once again sinking off the corners. This has been like the biggest issue here early on. Blitz. Up, forced behind the back pass. Vando saved it though. Luka's going to drop a 30-foot bomb. Yes, he is. Nice shot from Vando or from Luka, and now it's a 3-point game. Lakers have played much better defense over the second half of this first quarter. Good D. Tough bucket from Keaton Wallace there. Looks like they're setting up for stack again. You can see Dalton getting ready, but they're switching, so they're not bothering. There's a double, and Luka just rifled that into a turnover. Once again, just like I just don't understand why they keep sinking off the corners. Like they're just allowing these like really easy closeout opportunities for like jumpers, quick drives. Like that was just a simple move, like a basically a pump fake and jab and step back going to his left. But like you're gifting him an easy closeout opportunity when you're not helping anything. You're not like shutting down a drive that where a guy's compromised or something like that. I just don't think that's good defense. CFRD 5828 from U8 from YouTube says you often call Luka and Jokic as offensive engines. Would SGA be on that boat, or does his weaker playmaking hold him back? I um I I like SGA's game a lot. I think that he is very close to those two guys, but I don't think he's in the same stratosphere as a playmaker. It looks like we got a caller here. Mike's up. Kalen, I see Kalen says, Jason, I'm not pleased with your Knicks skepticism, but I'm still a fan of the show. Kalen, I'm it's not so much that I don't believe that you guys can become a different team this year. It's that I saw such a large sample of mediocre Knicks basketball aside from that Celtics series last year that like it's just going to take a lot to cleanse my palate, so to speak. I'm just going to need more. I know that's frustrating and maybe it'll happen, but like it's going to take a lot for me to change my mind. It's going to take a lot. That Pacers series was ugly. That Pistons series was ugly. The regular season, they couldn't beat a good team to save their lives. It's just going to take a lot for me to cleanse the palate. Mike, what's up, man? How are you, man?
I'm good, buddy. How
Another
you
season.
doing? I know we're back. We haven't even gotten to our yearly NBA Cup broadcast. I hadn't DM'd you about that yet. All right, real quick, couple quick things. Since this is your first time streaming, like really on the platform, one thing I would highly recommend doing, go into the remote, and I don't know if Greer and the rest of the team showed you this, but they have a new feature where you can see all of the games right below what you're watching. So go into the remote and like find another game that you might want to watch, click watch for later, and then hit when you go back into the remote, hit a pin and it will pin that game below.
So I can quickly kind of go back and forth between them.
Not just quickly, like you're going to be able to see it in real time, what's happening in that game.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
So like I'll typically have like 5 games on at once below on top of the game we're already watching. The audience won't see that, but for your purposes, in terms of the broadcast, it's a huge game changer. So
okay,
just
I'm going to add this.
Add a bunch of games for later, and then go back into the remote. Audience, I apologize that I'm doing a little live.
No, you're good. We got to figure this out. We got to get this off the ground. So this is important. Add for later. Okay, I added Mavs, Wizards.
And then when you go back into the remote for live TV, you'll see a pin. Click that pin, and the game will show on right beneath you.
Oh, I see.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, that makes sense. I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it's super helpful with like the Mavs Wizards game is going on right now, 69-66, and like if you did want to see what's happening, maybe Nico Harrison's getting fired after tonight. You can just quickly jump in. Speaking of them, real quick, I put a question in here earlier just on the Wiz because Locked On Mavs, or not on the Wiz, on the Mavs. Locked On Mavs and DLS both had headlines last night off their YouTube of fire Nico Harrison. Straight up.
Yeah, as
and
they
those
should.
are both platforms that don't do that. Where are you with the Mavericks in general? Where are you with that roster? And finally, where are you on the Cooper Flag development cycle?
So I think that it's complicated because there's first of all, the biggest thing that has stood out to me from the beginning of this season is the difference between Dallas and Houston in terms of their shot creation, because there's kind of imbalance in both cases. So for instance, Houston has kind of a glut of certain types of players, but a lack of ball handling. And so does Dallas. But the difference is that Cooper Flag is this young, high-level read and react player that when he's playing off of high-level talent, I think he's very much like a force multiplier. But when you play him around a lack of refined offensive skill, he's not the kind of guy that's going to uplift them to some super high level offensively. And then with Houston, for example, you have these 3 forces in Şengün, Kevin Durant, and Amen Thompson, where like even in poor spacing, the 3 of them just kind of find ways to generate high level offense. And so they've been able to, despite their lack of shooting, actually they've shot the ball pretty well to start this year. But I mean, in some of the games that you've seen, they haven't shot the ball as well, and they've still been able to score pretty well in spite of that. And I think that's the big thing that stands out is like when you're trying to run a basketball team, you've got to check these certain responsibilities. And for as imbalanced as Houston is, they have 3 pretty solid ways to break a defense down. Whereas for Dallas right now, because D'Lo hasn't been very good and Kyrie Irving's out and Anthony Davis is out, and Anthony Davis was never that good at it to begin with. And Cooper Flag, even when he's at his best, is probably not going to be Luka Doncic. Like, it's one of those things where they've really struggled with the specific job of breaking the defense down originally. Like, it just makes basketball really hard. And I feel bad for Mavs fans because like you're seeing with the Lakers, for all of their personnel limitations because of injuries and just in general, what you're seeing is they every single game have a guy, whether it's Luka or Austin, who can like consistently break the defense at the start of possessions, and it just makes basketball doable. Bronny? Oh.
No, that was ugly, Bronny. That was a 35-footer from Bronny, guys. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, come over to playback.tv/hoops tonight. You could have come see Bronny shoot that awful 3-pointer. That was terrible.
Yeah, I'm worried about this particular lineup because you don't have a lot of shot creation, obviously, with Austin and LeBron out, and the Hawks have been doing a lot of switching, which is going to make them a one-on-one team, and there's what you need. You need Marcus Smart to put the ball on the floor and get a basket. No matter what, this group for the Lakers, what you've got to be looking at here is the Hawks don't have a lot of refined offensive skill on the floor either. So at the very least, drag this down into the mud, play great defense, and just hope that Marcus does one or two of these more than the other guys do.
Yeah, I mean, I think the second unit for the Lakers is always going to be the issue. The non-Luka minutes, obviously Reeves is going to help. I know you've talked extensively on the new Lakers pod that you have about how LeBron is going to fit in. The LeBron of it all, I guess, at the stage. Like, where are you at with he's going to be back in 2 to 3 weeks, in theory? How are you feeling on the LeBron fit with this roster?
I don't think it's going to be perfect right away. Like, I think that I mark my words, the Lakers will drop another back cut there, guys. Just a lot of on like a little off ball screen where they botched a switch.
A lot of looking the other way, basically defensively right now.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I mark my words, what will end up happening at some point in the next couple of weeks, the Lakers will drop a game that they were typically winning before LeBron joined the team. And they'll look a little clunky, and the Austin, LeBron, and Luka will all have mediocre nights, and they won't. And then everyone's going to be like, "Oh, LeBron's hurting the team. LeBron's hurting the team." And frankly, it's just stupid. It's going to be a little clunky at first as you're trying to incorporate another ball handler, but their ceiling on both ends of the floor is just so much higher with LeBron, and they're just going to be a better basketball team in the long run. And so I think for everybody, they just need to kind of weather through that first couple of weeks, and then it'll be worthwhile. Asa Newell, nice little move there, and the Hawks are on a run. They're up a dozen now.
It's kind of surprising the Hawks are playing as well as they are tonight, given the lack of talent on the floor. Like, this is a Hawks team that I think people had
down 3 starters.
Yeah, and it's a Hawks team that I think people had high hopes for. But I think when you started looking at second units, you were just like, oh, I don't know whether they can compete in a playoff setting. I think they can win 45 to 50 games in the East and kind of go from there. But they're competing against what have been one of the best teams the first 2 weeks plus. Like, this is surprising.
Yeah, I'm not super surprised. I don't know if you were here at the beginning of the stream, but I talked about how like this was a game I was actually worried about. It's just like it's a textbook letdown game. You've got 3 starters out for the Hawks. All the guys who are playing for the Hawks are young and athletic and playing in front of their home crowd and believe they can win the game even without the starting level talent on the floor. And for the Lakers, their biggest weakness is athleticism. And so if they don't bring requisite effort, I've talked about this concept before. Like, to me, effort shows so much more with the less athletic teams, because when they let go of the rope, the athletic teams will just run circles around them. And so basically what this game is going to come down to is, do the Lakers have a 15-minute stretch in them, in the second half of this game where they lock in, they get stops, and Luka picks them apart on the other end, and they build a nice 10, 12-point margin to where they can withstand some variance at the end of the game. And they're playing with some fire right now, down 12. All it takes is a little 7-0 run in the third quarter. You're suddenly down 14, and the game can get out of reach from you. So they got to be careful here.
Yeah, I mean, and it's for Atlanta, it's such an interesting situation, as you mentioned, with like Keaton Wallace is someone who, as a second guard, you would be like, oh, nice little backup guard. But he's the kind of guy who can score 15 points real easy in a night. Like, yeah. He's done it before. He did it last year. Zachary Richie has taken like a mini leap this year, I feel like. And Dyson Daniels isn't having quite the same year that he had last year, but still putting up like pretty solid numbers. all things considered, it's been fun.
These are NBA players. NBA players are working really hard behind the scenes on skills, and there's really not a guy in the league that, I mean, even Vando, for all of the lack of offensive polish he has, like, you fall asleep on him, he can hit a rip through move and get to the basket and lay it up or throw a kick out pass. Like, these are NBA players, and if you don't bring the requisite effort, you can run into some trouble. That's a tough bucket. Good defense from Krejci.
I did see Will's question on AJ Divanza, and well, let me just tell you, AJ's the real deal. I'm more of a Darren Peterson guy myself, but like you're picking very, very minimally in between AJ, Boozer, and Divanza. They all have like pluses and minuses to them. They're elite guys, and all three of them would have gone number one over Cooper this year, personally.
That was a really nice little bit of rotation from the Atlanta Hawks defense out of that blitz. I'm pretty high on Cooper. I think Cooper's not in a situation where he's gonna look good in this particular system with the type of talent they have. I think people need to keep their minds open with him. I think he's gonna be a really good player.
I still think Cooper's fantastic. I'm not saying that Cooper's not. Oh man, brutal look there.
The Hawks are playing good defense. They're rotating well. They're getting good contests on, like, Rui's. The shot was well contested. Luka's shot was well contested. Laravia's cut right there was well contested.
The Lakers are falling apart in their rotation.
Sinking way off the corner again.
And then you give up an offensive board.
Yeah, not great.
Not great. Can't give up second chance opportunities to decent teams. Got lucky.
Yeah, I mean, the Lakers are not very athletically engaged at this point. But at the same, nice little cut. Finish, though.
Ooh.
Nice work.
How have you felt about JJ so far?
I think JJ's awesome. I've been high on JJ since the beginning. I'm not saying he's been perfect. I don't agree with every little thing that he's done, but I generally, I'm a big believer in, like, super competitive dudes who are smart. That's a backcourt. JJ's
like, seriously?
The level of active coaching that we see from him relative to what it was like with Darvin has been big too. Like, he's just up and super engaged on a possession to possession basis, and I think he's done a really nice job, like, helping Luka avoid ball pressure during games by keeping him off the ball more often. I've liked the intentionality of the types of sets that he runs against certain types of defenses in certain parts of the game. I think that as a team, since the opening night travesty against the Warriors, I think they've been pretty engaged in their night-to-night defensive game plan, discipline, and effort. Like, this is one of the worst effort games of the season so far for the Lakers, and, like, this kind of thing hasn't happened very often. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think they're 4-0 on the road to start the season. And a big part of that has been, like, consistent effort in these types of situations. So, I mean, I don't know how you could possibly feel anything other than overwhelming positivity surrounding this Lakers team. I mean, they win tonight. They have the second best record in the league, and they've been utterly devastated by injuries to their top guys to start the year. So, I mean, injuries is probably the wrong way to put it, because there's been a lot of load managing with Luka and with Austin. But they've played 9 games, so theoretically there should be 27 games worth. I guess you call this 10. So 30 games worth of LeBron, Luka, and Austin in theory, if they're all healthy. And let's see, you're getting a grand total of 13 games out of Luka and Austin. So out of the 30 potential games total played between LeBron, Luka, and Austin, you've got 13. And you're sitting in contention for the second best record in the league if you win tonight. Like, that is just absolutely stunning. And I mean, this is a Lakers roster that's been much maligned. Once again, Luka roaming off that weak side corner. They've been getting torched by that all night tonight.
I'll also note they're 6-2 in conference, which, not for nothing, that's pretty important in terms of tiebreakers.
Absolutely. One leg fade. Nice shot. It's all defense right now, Lakers.
I mean, that's what it comes down to for good teams. Like, you can have all the
another back cut.
You can have all the
Marcus Smart.
You want.
Marcus has been back cut twice already in this game.
That's where Dyson Daniels will kill you. He's not going to kill you with his shooting, but back cut effort, drives, like, he's elite at that specific skill.
Mm-hmm.
One last thing before I go. And for those of you in chat, both on YouTube, for those on YouTube, come over to playback.tv/hoops tonight. We're having fun over here.
Yeah. And Max, I see you. Max, I'm going to have you come up on stage here shortly.
And then for those who want to come on stage, click in the center. There is a request button under the on stage. You see right now the stage menu says 2. Click on that, click request, and then Jason will hopefully bring you up at the appropriate time, and you can kind of just go for there. Jason, you said you're going to be doing this twice a week? I know 3 times next week. But...
Next one is Wednesday night for Lakers Thunder. Another blitz. Skip. That's the wrong read. Marcus was wide open at the top.
Nasty.
Nice closeout attack from Jake. He's got a little, like I said, a little shiftiness to his game. Nice move from Dyson.
He's got a little something to him. Like,
yes, he does.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's like a little bit of like, I don't give a to him, you know? Like that's what I like about an athlete like that. He can shoot, but he can also have some interior toughness to him.
Yeah. One of the things I've noticed with this Laker roster, for as slow and unathletic as they are relative to the great teams, they have a lot of that's off his leg. They have a lot of really versatile, skilled basketball players. Like Marcus Smart is a versatile, skilled basketball player. Jake LaRavia is a versatile, skilled basketball player. So is DeAndre Ayton. Like they have a lot of, that was not a great LaRavia sequence there. Got a little over penetrated there. Good defense, but once again, though, both Smart and LaRavia just saved possessions just by being smart and getting deflections. Got to finish.
Hey, he got the second chance opportunity, though. Got the right guy.
Big one. Back to 12. Timeout.
And for those of you who are just watching us on playback, click on your right in the middle. Click on settings, and you should be able to add League Pass onto your account. It's very easy to sync up your League Pass, and you'll be able to watch the game with us. I don't know if Jason has VIPs available. I think that's a little tougher given the rim of the size, but that's also a possibility as well. Anyway, Jason, I'm going to bounce. I don't want to take up too much more of your time.
It was good to see you, man. Thanks for helping with our logistics. It's much appreciated.
Hey,
Next time you come on, we'll have to talk a little bit of Celtics.
I mean, you know, both Jay Gissenberg and I have had some conversations on the side, and let's just say there's been some frustration. But hey, look, if we get AJ, Cam, or Darren, we'll be pretty happy. I'm happy to take it.
Thinking about the lottery, just you get to deal with very stress-free basketball fanhood here for a little while. All right, let's get Max up here. Max, what's up, man? Did you have a good summer? Or I guess it's winter for you technically, right?
It's middle of spring.
Well, I mean, did you have a good winter, I should say?
Yeah, pretty good. A fair bit of went skiing in Canberra. So, yeah.
How's the skiing down there?
Not that good. Like, there's one spot in the whole country where you can do it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's no Colorado. I'll put it.
It's no Colorado.
Yeah, I wanted to get to New Zealand, but just couldn't this year. So,
is that where Australian people typically go to ski? Is up to New Zealand
or Japan?
I've heard amazing things about Japan skiing. Never been, but I've been to Japan. Just I've never been there to ski. And I've heard great things.
Yeah, a few of my mates went on a boys' trip to Japan, so yeah, didn't get to make that one either. So unfortunately.
What are your big NBA takes to start this season?
Well, my big take is, can we please get Giannis out of Milwaukee? And I know Milwaukee's decent, but they're not gonna win anything this year. And it would just be so cool to see Milwaukee with the opportunity that Luka, SGA, Jokic, all these players have. I just would love to see Giannis have one more chance. It's reminding me of LeBron when he was absolutely at his best on just those Cavs teams that you just knew were just going nowhere. And it's just disheartening to watch an all-time great player have no chance to win compared to the other top stars.
I'm pretty high on the Bucks. Run a little ram screen into a wing pick and roll. Good D. Good D. That was a good possession. Good result. Keep the ball in front. That'll go a long way. Luka's got a little transition, quick matchup with Dyson. Gives it up. Gay's going to probably switch this. No, he's going to blitz it. Laravia's going to get a clean look. That's a big shot. Boom. 9-point game. But yeah, the thing with the Bucks is like it's been crazy to me to see how much more athletic they've been, kind of swapping Dame for Rollins and Taurean Prince into a bench role for AJ Green as a starter. Like, and then Miles Turner in for Brook. They're just a lot more athletic than they used to be. And like, I'm with you because it's sad because, like for instance, the 2018 LeBron to me is the best basketball player that's ever played. And that dude was just on a team that had no chance, but he still took them to the finals. And that's kind of like what I think we're going to see with Giannis. Like, I think this is some of the best basketball, if not the best basketball Giannis has ever played. But he's going to be on a team that has no chance to win. But I do think they've got an outside chance to win the conference. And I think like it's one of those things where like to me, if like the Bucks won the East and then got their butts kicked by Denver or OKC in the finals, it would still to me be a huge feather in Giannis's cap as a basketball player. Like I know that's difficult, but like only one team out of every 30 gets to win, you know? So there's gotta be some smaller victories in there. More sinking off the corner. Big shot from Gay there.
Would for the Bucks would like they can't really make any move for like a secondary star, so it's sort of just like Giannis all the way. And I guess if you can get to the finals, like you never know, like an injury might happen or something like that, and it just opens it up. But it's just it's because he is playing so well. You just wish like he had the like talent around him to absolutely have a proper chance, other than relying on sort of a fluke injury to help him.
Well, to your point, Chris Paul pulls his hammy. If the Rockets somehow find a way to win Game 7 at home, I think the LeBron Cavs beat the Rockets without Chris Paul. So like that's a perfect example of what you're talking about, where like something could break right. And that's the thing. Like, what if some team beats OKC, but they limp into the finals, just devastated by the physicality of it all, and then suddenly Giannis is playing at peak Giannis level, and it just becomes too much. And that's why it's impossible to write the Bucks off. But I'm generally with you that they look to me like a team that just doesn't have the horses. What's your favorite Giannis destination? Quick post up here for Laravia against Keaton Wallace. Good D.
Like it's I would love to see him on like I would love to see him at like New York. Like, even though it probably doesn't make any sense and it's impossible to happen, I would just like love to see like Giannis in New York just for like the fun of what that would be for New York. But
that would be a ton of fun.
Like it's like I know Luka got traded, but it's like that the way like the salary cap is now, it's just like I can't envision a team actually being able to trade for Giannis.
Yeah, his salary is just really difficult to match. That is definitely the truth. That was a nasty little right shoulder fadeaway from Zachary Rissache in the paint. The Hawks role players playing some good basketball here tonight.
Yeah, he's a really interesting player. Like he's got, like you can tell he's got better Rissache, but I don't think his like I think mostly the NBA community realizes that draft sucked and that and that he's not actually a number one pick, but
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like, if I'm sure he's not complaining, he got number one pick money, so there's that. I think Zach's a good player. I think he was a in a draft that was pretty limited. He was like a very safe pick to be an awesome role player wing for a long time, and I think he fits the system. That's a tough bucket there, Luka. Jesus Christ. There's a certain amount of like in Atlanta's system as a guy, a nice little defensive play from Luka, jump in the passing lane, kick out to Rui. That's a big shot. Oh, Rui's cooling off finally. Not good, guys.
Rui's progression is since he got to the Lakers has been pretty insane.
Oh my God, another sinking off the corner.
If Rui could just have better perimeter defense, he'd be so perfect for this roster.
If he got better perimeter defense, he'd be a $25 million player, to your point. The couple of things with Rui that I've noticed over the years, and this has been consistent in the numbers, when he's wide open, he is a knockdown three-point shooter, but if you throw a pretty good contest at him, his percentages plummet. It's kind of like the difference between like him and like a Michael Porter Jr., for instance. Like a Michael Porter Jr. is a guy that like he shoots the ball well when he's open, but he also shoots the ball well when he's contested. He's got a high release point and he doesn't really tweak his release. He doesn't get spooked by closeouts. Another missed offensive rebound. Keaton Wallace weak side. Boom. That's a huge shot. All right, Luka, put it up.
Yeah, you're probably way more confident with Rui like attacking the closeout and trying to make a play off that in the mid-range or in the paint than actually shooting it.
Yeah, that's the weird thing is like he's been super good at a mid-range to start the season, but like that's the weird thing is like he can put the ball on the floor and hit some shots under contests when he's off the dribble in the mid-range, but like for whatever reason when he's on the three-point line it just can fall apart for him against a good closeout. But then the second piece of it is what you mentioned, just that like attentiveness on perimeter defense. Like that's where it can give up some ground. But like I think he's having a good season. I think he's very naturally slotted as a 4. I've talked about this with Lakers fans, but I think there's a case to be made that Rui is the 4 of the future for this team. Which makes him difficult to trade because in the short term he's not. He's a backup who's got to play a lot of 3, which he could end up losing those minutes to guys like Jake LaRavia and Marcus Smart, which then makes him kind of marginalized with LeBron on the team. But at the same time, it's like you don't want to trade him unless you're going to get back a guy who's going to be a starting 3 or 4 in the future because LeBron will eventually retire, and then what do you do?
Do you not think that, like, I know you have Luka, but it's like the future's like less important when, like, I don't, like, surely a Lakers fan would look at this roster now and go, this could win this season. Like, look, it's not like Luka's 21 and he's going to be better. Like, Luka's at his peak right now.
Yeah.
Like, Reeves is pretty good. Like, I don't know, maybe Ayton has a really great season and you can't pay him next season and then your center next year is not as good. So, like, why does the future matter so much when you've got a chance to win now?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because I'm generally of the opinion that if you trade for the right kind of player, then they are an asset. So, like, for instance, like, I understand the skepticism behind a Wiggins trade. I personally think that Wiggins is the kind of guy that would vault this roster up into top-tier championship contention, but I understand the case against trading for him. You'd have to trade Rui. That's your starting 4 in the long run. Wiggins is in his 30s now. He's really good right now, but 2 years from now, he probably won't be the same level of player, right? I understand the case there. But, like, so for instance, let's say that, like, you were like, hey, they want a first-round pick and a swap for Herb Jones. The case against it would be like, what if we have an opportunity to trade for a superstar and we need more draft picks? And my counter to that would be if I'm a smart NBA GM and you're offering me Herb Jones back in a deal for a star, he's worth every bit as much as the first round pick you paid for him, right? So, like, as long as you make an all-in trade that is for a player that has stable value, then all you're doing is basically doing a currency exchange, right? You're exchanging draft currency for talent currency. But then at any point in the future, if you need to, you can trade talent currency for draft currency. So it's more just like, yeah, don't go do something stupid like trade for a 35-year-old or for a 32-year-old. Like no one's arguing with you about that. But I do think that there's value in being aggressive for role player talent as long as it's role player talent that has stable value. So like there's no reason why they can't make an all-in trade for this year around a guy like a Herb Jones, for example, but then also still have the flexibility in terms of good players and assets that they could include if a superstar trade were to materialize somewhere down the line. But like I could even see them being like, "Oh, we're not going to trade for Herb Jones because we want to keep salary flexibility for a guy like Giannis." Like there's a lot of different reasons why they might not.
But like, let's say the Lakers are a top 3 seed at the trade deadline, and it's like clear this is going to be a good team, and the only move to make them better is trading for Wiggins. Like, why would you not do that?
Because if you don't win, like this isn't 2022 where it looks wide open. Like Oklahoma City is the barrier you've got to get through. And if you don't win, there's a version of the story where Wiggins' value declines and you're down assets and then you're strapped for the next phase of that was a really nice play from wow, I'm surprised there wasn't a foul call there. Max Christie just got it up on the glass and took the rim protector out of the play, which opened up the offensive rebound lane for Cisse. But yeah, I think in general, there's a certain amount of like Andrew Wiggins is a declining asset. I really like Andrew Wiggins. If I could do it for, I made this joke on the show the other day. Like if you told me the world was going to end next summer, I'd trade for Wiggins because like I think he makes you better. But the world doesn't end next summer. Luka's 27, and you're going to be going for it again. So you kind of have to. Wow, De'Aaron Fox in the second quarter, 15 points on 6 of 6 from the field.
De'Aaron Fox with Wemby, like as a duo, I wouldn't know the numbers like you probably have somewhere. Is that like, in theory, it feel like it should work because De'Aaron Fox is rapid and can probably beat 99% of NBA players off the dribble at any time he wants. And Wemby's sort of like a stretch big. Like in theory, it should work, but I feel like it wasn't that good when they have played together.
It wasn't, but it is complicated. It was a small sample size for starters, and the two De'Aaron Fox didn't shoot well while Wemby was on the floor with him, and there was some timing stuff. Like I think he only connected with Wemby on a lob once in the entire like little 5-game stretch that they played. Like there's a lot of like timing, pick and roll timing stuff that they didn't get a chance to figure out that I think they'll have more chance to figure out this season. So generally speaking, I feel like I'm still high on the pairing. I don't think it's going to be perfect right away. It's going to take some time. Oh, Cooper.
Do you think
Cooper beat drop coverage with a little floater earlier, and then he turned the corner there and almost dunked on his ass?
I wish Cooper Flag was a power forward and Anthony Davis was playing center. Can you imagine how much better they would be just like immediately if they did that?
I think that this story probably ends with Dallas trading Anthony Davis at some point in the next year or so, and then it being very much a Cooper Flag, Derek Lively kind of like foundational front court. I'm generally with you that like I'd want to pair those two with another rangy, athletic 3-man next to Cooper and kind of go like that. Or I think Cooper could play the 3-2 if you got a rangy, athletic 4 next to him. But I'm generally with you. Like I think two big looks are worthwhile to have, but I don't think it should be a foundational look for you unless you've got Chet Holmgren and like you've got a legitimate, bona fide, excellent offensive player at the 4. And even then, like the Thunder have had some issues with their two big looks because Chet hasn't shown that polish just yet. Trae Johnson. I'm a huge Trae Johnson fan. Good bucket.
Like, what would Anthony Davis's trade value even be though? Like, it wouldn't be Luka Doncic.
Not much. Salary matching and maybe a first. Like, I mean, I don't think he's worth much. So this is like what you guys just saw there. It's an example of a lot of NBA teams are doing this now, where they want to peel switch, where they basically have the guard chase over the top, but then he needs to get under. So once he gets screened, he needs to get under the big. So essentially, they want him to chase over the top at first because that is for the purpose of making sure the guard drives into the second defender instead of taking an easy pull-up. But he's got to get inside position on the big when he peels off, or he's just going to have an easy pocket pass and or offensive rebound. So like that, you're seeing a lot of NBA teams do that now. Chase over the top of the screen, guard's got to get inside the big, and he just didn't get underneath him there.
I'm going to take off, Jason. Thank you, mate.
Max, it was good to see you, man. I will see you throughout the season, I'm sure. All right, and we're almost back to second half of basketball over there in LA. Mavs fans, how are you enjoying watching Brandon Williams lead your offense here in crunch time? Drew a foul. Bulls are whooping the Cavs' butt right now? No way. Let me see. 68-53 at the end of the first half. Wow. Dude, one of the things with the Bulls, they've been shooting the three insanely well to start the season. 10 for 14. They were over 40% before their last game as a team. I know they went cold in the Bucks game. I think it was Bucks last night, if I remember correctly. They've been generating a lot of open looks. I want to give them some credit for that, but they've been shooting pretty preposterously well. Mike, I'm not worried about Cleveland. Give him time. Darius Garland is their engine. It's going to take a while for him to get his legs back underneath him and to trust that toe again. They're good. As long as Cleveland is 100% healthy, I view them as the clear top team in the East. Kalen says all it took was NBC coming back for the Bulls to be good again. Lakers fans, how are we feeling about the second half? CJ skip. Good jump from Brandon Williams there. Nice read from Cooper in transition. That's an and one. Come on. That's the kind of thing like Cooper. I trust Cooper to make the right read quickly every single time. I think he's going to be such a good connective player. He just needs to play alongside supreme talent at this phase in his career because the jumper is just not where it needs to be. I think he's going to add a good amount of muscle in the next few years too and become a little bit more of a power player. Just kind of seems like the natural progression for him. And Mike, I agree. Tatum's what I see with him too. Look, Brandon Williams draws a blitz, skip over to the weak side. Cooper just missed the shot. That little bit of offensive polish is what's missing, specifically with the jump shot. But like, he just is so good at so many things that I look at him as a Tatum-esque type of player. Out of bounds. Keyshawn George has been an interesting player to start this season. He's kind of added a little bit of methodical pick and roll attack to his game. He's got good size for the ball handling ability that he has, and like good kind of like 3-level shot making too. Good defense from PJ, forces a stop. He's cooled off a little bit over the last few games, but he got off to a great start this season. Switch, Brandon Williams, midi pull up. You guys just imagining Kyrie Irving taking that shot eventually. Najee Marshall's got a little bit off the dribble bounce to his game. PJ in the post here against CJ. Left shoulder hook. Finish. Nice bucket. Mavs in good shape. Emmanuel, thank you for the super chat, first of all. Another candidate for the Lakers should be Ochai Agbaji with the Raptors. Disregard his stats this season. Not enough playing due to the roster spot. O'Shea's an example of the kind of guy, like, to me, they've got a lot of, like, the refined, skilled offensive off-ball wing. Like, they've got a lot of that kind of guy between Rui and Jake and Marcus, and I generally think what they're missing is, like, the wrecking ball athlete that can play with an advantage off of a star. And to me, O'Shea is a classic example of that kind of guy. Again, like, so much of this stuff, I was talking about this in the Lakers Collective pod that we did on Thursday. There is so much opportunistic stuff that goes along with the trade deadline, like just who happens to be available. Nice block from PJ. Like, who's available? They call a foul there? No, timeout. Like, who happens to be available? Who is the team that is looking to sell versus the teams that are looking to buy? Like, a lot of teams will look to sell, but only if teams are willing to spend a certain amount. You need the circumstances in the couple of weeks um right before the deadline to go a certain way for certain guys to be available. Like, it's just, there's a lot that's outside of your control with that sort of thing. Let's see if we're back to playing yet here in Atlanta. Getting ready. The general says, if you really think the Lakers are contenders, you do not know basketball. Kaylin, we will do a Knicks game at some point. Again, it's going to be like a mix of like Lakers games and then like major nationally televised games. We will do a Knicks game at some point. I'll let you guys know on Twitter when the time comes. I know that you're. I would like for eventually you to hop on and tell us why I'm wrong about the Knicks and why that they're better than I'm giving them credit for to start the season. Little deflection there. See how far they're gapping? They're playing so far off of those guys off the ball that they're getting like easy little one-on-one opportunities against a guy closing out. Zach got a decent look there. The same kind of look he got out of the left corner earlier, or Vit Krejci got out of the corner earlier. Stack pick and roll. They switch it again. Luka misses. Lose control of the ball the other way. Like that, it's really just they're losing the tug of war battle on the other end of the floor with containing the ball in terms of transition drives, and that's good defense. They're losing the tug of war battle with the containing the ball and transition and on cuts and on drives, and then on the other end of the floor, like, Luka hasn't done a good enough job beating the switches to start this game. Little hedge. Good beat. Way to beat the hedge. Aiden rolled hard. Luka found him. See how like Kongwu just came flying out to kind of stop the drive, but then he immediately ran back. That's a big shot. Another rebound. Aiton's got Dyson Daniels on him underneath the basket there. Good cut from Jake. There we go. Nice little run. We're going to hop back over to see the end of that Mavs game real quick. All right, one possession game. They need to stop. Switch. Brandon Williams has got CJ. Left shoulder fade. That's a tough shot. Big rebound. Now they got a foul. Nope. 8-second gap. That was interesting. You have an 8-second gap and then you turn around and foul. I don't understand JD13. I don't know why he fouled there. There's plenty of time to get a stop. Trae Johnson just strikes me as the kind of guy that has the skill set to be able to score in kind of like organized NBA offense. It's a big part of why I'm high on him. Like he can score coming off of screens, he can score attacking closeouts, he can score from all three levels. He's got pull up 3-point shooting, off the move 3-point shooting, off of the catch. He's got mid-range pull-up shooting, he's got a little floater, he's got the ability, like he's just got a really like well-rounded skill set while also being a pretty decent sized and decent athlete. It's just like, to me, it's just that kind of guy has been successful in the NBA for the last few years. He's sitting at 9 points tonight. Scoring at a rate of 17 points per 36 minutes to start the season. Not bad at all. And on 57% true shooting coming into tonight. All right, let's head back over to Atlanta. Kalen asks a really interesting question here. What year will Washington legit be good? And, you know, I've been thinking about this for a while too, Kalen, because like they have a lot of players that I like. I like Bilal Coulibaly. I like Trae Johnson. I like Keyshawn George. I like Alex Sarr. Like they've got some guys that can play defense too. So like there's this thing that happens. It's kind of like look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in what year was it? I think it was 2023. Let me look it up real quick. I think it was 2023. Where it's like, oh, you know, they're a lottery team, or they're not necessarily a great team, but they were like 500 when it was 2022. So in 2020, no, it was 2023. You're right. So in 2023, when Shai played, if I can get this up here. In 2023, when Shai played, they were 33 and 35. And especially when you look at the weak East, there's a blitz. Rui's got to knock this down. Good shot. Back to 9. In 2023, when they played, they were basically a 500 team. And that's kind of what I'm looking at, is like no one's asking them to go out there and win 50 games. But at a certain point, the Wizards, if these guys are as good as I think they are, they need to start racking up some wins in the Eastern Conference. Nice move from Dyson Daniels. Those are the kinds of things, like I was talking about this a little bit with Miami. One of the things that stood out to me, I watched Miami 3 times in a row last week with the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Nuggets, I believe. And nice move, Luka. Left that short. Luka's cooled off a little bit on his short range shot making since the start of the season. But one of the things I noticed with Miami is like just keep them in front. If you keep them in front, like they're, oh my gosh, just sloppy. That's a huge sequence right there. Just a stupid turnover in a wide open 3. But one of the things I've noticed with Miami is like, hey, keep them in front, and if you keep them in front, they'll make some shots, but they're not going to make enough shots. Another sloppy turnover. They're not going to make enough shots to like, wow. Everybody okay? Marcus is like, you all right, man? I just tackled you out of the air, but are you all right? I don't know I don't know if there's anybody out there that is that plays some basketball, but I'm the kind of guy, like when I get in a fast break and I see one of those dudes coming at me, I'm like, you know what? Let's just pull this out and let's let's play a little half court basketball. It's just not worth it to get hurt. God, that dunk from Peyton Watson is absurd. All right, let's see what the Lakers got here. Down 16 after playing some stupid basketball for a few minutes. Just blew all the momentum they had to start the half. Little weak side handoff for Luka. Jackson rolls well out of it. They took Ayton off the court because Ayton was playing some trash get ball. Ice, good deflection. Under against Keaton. Step back three. No. Attacks Laravia. Good contest. That's good defense. Good little gang rebound there to keep Gay off the glass. Ball screen with Jackson. Why are you popping to the three-point line, Jackson? I don't know what Luke is doing. Don't love that shot. Trying to draw a foul. Versace runs his lane, gets an open corner three. Now they're down 17. Yeah, the Lakers are officially very much in the danger zone here because if you remember in the first half when Luka stepped off the floor is when the game kind of got blown open a little bit. And if this is still sitting, they need to get this down to 8 or 9 points before Luka gets out of the game, or they're going to be in some serious trouble. Good pass. Jackson, just go up and finish. I don't know what he's doing there. He hesitated and pump faked at nobody. Yeah, timeout. They're getting their butts kicked. This is a butt kicking. This game's gonna come down to the next 4 minutes if the Lakers can make a little run here to cut into the lead. Not a good start. Not a good start to the second half. They got first few minutes were fine, and then they blew it in literally a little half dozen possession sequence with sloppy turnovers, and Ayton just was completely asleep there for a minute, ran into Luka and forced a turnover, had that little turnover off the high post entry. Not great, guys. Looking around the league, it looks like the Raptors and Sixers are in a little bit of a dogfight. Bulls are up 16 on the Cavs at half. Heat are up 7 on the Blazers. Wemby has 15 rebounds halfway through the third quarter. Looks like all of those De'Aaron Fox buckets were in the second quarter. He hasn't hit another shot outside of that. Nuggets, Pacers just tipped off. Sitting a bunch of guys. Gordon and Murray. Probably smart. You got the talent. I'm hoping that they can get Cam Johnson going a little bit with the guys out of the lineup. I was talking about this with Adam Mares in the All-NBA podcast on Friday, but it's killing me to see how unaggressive Cam Johnson's been. And there's a certain amount of he's gotta look to be more like Tim Hardaway Jr. in the way he's been attacking since he signed with the team, just bringing that aggressiveness to get out of his slump. Let's see. Do you feel the Josh Giddey leap has been real? I think that there's certain things that translate, his rim finishing has been good. He's been hitting his catch and shoot three, but the truth of the matter is he's not actually making a lot of shots in half court sets off of out of ball screens. He's when Giddey's shooting out of a ball screen, he's only getting 2/3 of a point per possession. A lot of what the Bulls are doing on offense right now is in transition. And I think that he deserves a lot of credit for almost Tyrese Halliburton-esque transition engine type of stuff. But I'm still generally pessimistic on Giddey as a lead ball handler for a dead serious team. We'll see. I've been wrong before, and I've been late to the party before. All right, let's see if the Lakers can go on a little run here. Double drag from Marcus into a weak side screen for Luka. They blitz again. For all the double teaming that Luka's seen in this game, the Lakers have not been getting great looks out of it. This is where I keep talking about how all the different ways LeBron can help this team. That's good, D. Go. What in the world was that, Vando? There's a certain amount of wow, what a finish. Mohamed Gay's made some plays today. There's another one. I'm surprised Keaton Wallace didn't take that shot as a little heat check. Nice kick out. That's a big shot. Boof. I think JJ's going to have to consider packing it in for the night. These guys have been uninterested in competing. And we might have to go to another game here pretty soon, guys. Okay. All right. I think it's time to pack it in. I don't know about you guys. I think we might need to move to a different game. Less than great. Less than great. My goodness, man. What a disappointing effort from the Lakers there to start the road trip. Kind of the nightmare type of game for this type of situation. Just like the young athletic team that just wants to get stops and run, that doesn't have a lot of talent. So you're like not bringing your A game and just get punched right in the mouth, just like that. What do you guys think? What do you guys want to watch? Do you guys want to watch the end of Blazers Heat, Pelicans Spurs, Raptors 76ers, or Lakers Hawks? What do you guys think? We will stay on Lakers Hawks if you guys want to, but I want to get some votes from you guys. Raptors Sixers, Blazers Heat, or Pelicans Pelicans Spurs. Let me get is there a poll on here? Can I do poll? What do we got? I can do a poll. All right. I'm going to send a poll for you guys here. What game should we watch next? Did the Lakers just turn it over again? All right, I got to pull up. Get you guys' votes in. We'll switch games here in just a moment. All right, I'm just posting a quick social media clip, guys, and then I'm gonna pick a game here. Looks like we're pretty heavily leaning towards Raptors Sixers. So I'm gonna head over there, guys. All righty. If I do this right, I should be back over there. All right, we're on Raptors Sixers. Good game. Bear with me just 1 second, guys, so I can post the social media clip. All right, let me go back to full screen here. Coco has an interesting question here from YouTube. He says, "This is what worries me come playoff time for the Lakers, just outmatched physically when the shots aren't falling." I view it as more of a regular season problem, to be honest with you, just because in general, um, the Lakers, when they have all their guys, I think they're going to score the basketball. It's more just they're going to get bludgeoned in transition like that on random regular season nights when they don't bring the requisite effort. The black jerseys are sick. Embiid 3, now they're up 6. Almost done, guys. Little known fact about me: I am a legitimately an awful multitasker. So it always takes me really. I always have a hard time with like doing this sort of thing while running the stream. So just bear with me. Just grabbing the link. And there we go. MPJ Brooklyn number one option says the Hawks are way better defensively without Trae. The stats from this have been insane. I'm actually going to pull them up for you guys right now so you can see. But the on-off offense defense stat, or the on-off defense stats specifically for the Hawks, have been like legitimately outrageous with Trae on versus off. I'm pulling them up right now. It switched me back to this junk of a game. Let's get back to Philly. The Atlanta Hawk defense has been 16 points better per 100 possessions with Trae Young off the floor versus on. Like that's a pretty wild stat. I will say I do think it's not quite as bad as it appears in that stat, simply because I watched a couple of the early season games from the Hawks, and I thought that they were generally pretty disengaged as a team, not just Trae, but the entire team defensively to start the year. So I think that kind of colors things a little bit worse. They had a 126 defensive rating and 307 possessions with Trae on the floor to start the season. And with Trae off the floor, 584 possessions, so twice as big a sample size in a 110 defensive rating, which is actually very strong. That's 80th percentile, according to Cleaning the Glass. RJ Barrett, little right shoulder hook, missed it. Good rebound. What a block from Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond's provided some like kind of scrappy rebounding deflection type of shifts for Philly a couple times this year. VJ transition attack crossover. Nice little poke away from Kalashvili. Another poke away. Deflected pass there, stays with Philly. Will, I'm bringing you up, man. What's up, dude? We're gonna multitask here. We're gonna cover the game and we're gonna chat. I want to hear your take on the early Thunder returns and how AJ Mitchell is the surgical pick and roll creator that you guys needed this whole time.
Well, I just want to say, like, I am the AJ Mitchell guy. Like,
You are.
I basically invented AJ Mitchell Island. Like, I was there. I was there the whole time. But I mean, it's just been so crazy. Like, it's I don't know. It's hard to really get like. It feels like the finals were like 2 weeks ago. So I'm kind of like still like reeling from that, and like the regular season. It feels so short. Like I don't know. It's so weird. So I'm still kind of trying to get back into it. I've obviously watched every game. It's weird because we've had so many injuries and stuff. So like J-Dub obviously hasn't played a game. Chet's missed like 5 games. Caruso's missed
Yeah, Dort's out now too.
yeah. Wiggins missed the last game. Like it's been weird, but I mean the results speak for themselves, I guess. Like they've been really good. Shea's been phenomenal again. As usual. I mean, it just kind of feels like again, these are the games people will forget about like come April when the Thunder are probably like 67-15 or whatever, and people will be like, "Oh, Shea's got this like amazing supporting cast." People will kind of forget about these games where they're running out really bad offensive lineups, and Shea is just like buoying them to
Carrying.
this really good level
Yeah.
offensively.
Dude, I'm with you, man. Like I've been super impressed by Shea to start the season. Like I think there have been some stretches where Shea's done this in the last couple of years and hasn't gotten credit for it, where dudes are out of the lineup, like whether it's because of Chet's hip injury or in previous seasons. Like he legitimately carries some of these lineups that are built around getting stops and a bunch of dudes that just get stops and run the floor. And don't get me wrong, they I think those lineups are really strong defensive lineups. But he is essentially carrying the load for the offense. And one of the big things that I think has stood out to me is like in general, I think as a team, a lot of like the tic-tac-toe sequences that come out of like Shea drawing two, they've gotten really sharp with.
Jason, what
Like
am I watching? What is
I
going
know this is the force feeding to Andre Drummond's not going super well lately.
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry I had to interrupt you. I'm like, what
No,
am I
you're good.
looking
You're
at?
good.
Jesus.
But there's
Man.
a certain amount of like these guys are like they have really good feel for how to like cut and move off of each other. And so for a team that can go cold shooting the ball, they can get a lot of like dunks and cuts and offensive rebounds off of them. Oh, Drummond.
Right.
Oh, I thought he was about to smoke
Yeah,
another.
he finally got
If he
one.
would have smoked that second left shoulder hook, that would have been hilarious because he was wide open too.
But yeah, I mean, like you, like I've watched a bunch of when you see Shea and Mitchell and Wiggins on the floor at the same time, like you kind of see the vision of like Shea gets kind of cut off on one, he swings to Mitchell, Mitchell drives or gets a pick and roll, and like they feel really fluid on their attacks. And I'm personally just really excited to see how J-Dub looks in these lineups, how he kind of adds to this, and I just think like we're gonna be really like I'm super excited to see how that looks. I mean,
You're really
yeah,
good, man. There's you don't have to gloss over it. You guys
yeah,
you're just like there have been a lot of impressive teams to start the year that have like kind of played better than we thought. Like I think the Bucks are a lot better than we thought they would be to start the year. The Lakers are certainly a lot better than we thought they'd be to start the year, but like I'd argue the Thunder have been better than I thought they like if I would have told you before the season that these guys are all going to miss as many games as they have, would you have had them at the record they're at? Probably not. Not with some of the tougher games on the schedule to start the year. Like they're just they're looking like one of those dynasty type of teams that just keep finding ways to win games, you know?
yeah. Kalen says, does the Thunder team have a shot at Golden State 73? If you can promise me 70 games from Chen J-Dub, yes. But if they're gonna like be injured like consistently, then no. I mean, like even though we're super deep, like you'll have games like we had in Portland where you're rolling out like Brandon Carlson and like Brooks Barnheiser playing like 15 minutes, and we're just gonna get clocked by somebody, even though that was a close game. But yeah, I mean, the only reason the Warriors and people forget about this, the only reason the Warriors really got to 73 was because the Spurs were right on their tail the whole way. They only clinched the 1 seed at like 70 wins. So like, and then obviously they went for the record when they had it, but it's like you need somebody to push you there. Otherwise, like it's hard to drive yourself if you have the 1 seed locked up.
Yeah, if
Wow.
you're not getting an actual benefit. Yeah. I see
Yeah,
what
this
you're
yeah.
saying.
Especially from a
There's a
team
certain
that's already
amount of,
won a
like
title.
there is a certain amount of, like, competitive nature, like, do they want it? Like, that's part of it too. Like, are they looking at each other in the locker room going like, "Let's go get 74 wins?" Or are they looking at each other in the locker room like,
Let's
"Let's
get
just do what we need to do to survive the season"?
let's get
I'd
number 2.
argue
Yeah.
based on the play sit decisions from Dagnall or from the medical staff or whoever it is that's ultimately in charge of that decision making process, I'd say that they're playing it safe and they're probably more concerned about surviving the season, but they're finding ways to win anyway. The guys that are out there certainly want to go get every single one of these games.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the staff and the team probably understands that the biggest, I mean, not to be disrespectful, but probably the biggest like reason this season would go like sideways. Wow. Okay. Is that is just somebody getting a terrible injury and being out for the season. So you kind of have to limit that as much as possible. Uh,
Other than Shea, if there was one guy that you think the Thunder can't afford to lose, who would it be?
um. Oh wow, it's so weird because I feel like we've missed so many people and we just feel. I still think it's. I think if we miss Chet for a whole playoff run, we would struggle a lot.
I think
And
it's
it's just
Chet too.
because, yeah, I just think his like when he's humming, like the team just looks so much different. Like his defensive intensity, his like I mean when he's on offensively, he's a really tough cover and he's a different kind of dimension to add off of Shea. So I would go with him. People are saying Dort. I don't agree. Honestly. I think Dort is supple like you can kind of get Dort in the mean or from like the
So here's where I'm going to disagree with you because I would have Dort probably third behind Chet and J Dub, like the most reliable or the most important role player. And the reason why is like there are like perimeter defenders who do a good job, and then there are like perimeter defenders that are like downright disruptive and destructive. And to me, Dort's one of those guys. So for instance, like I've seen Luka play in a lot of playoff series, and I've only seen two guys, I'll say three, that like really gave him trouble. And it's Jalen Brown. I'd say Wiggins to a certain extent in the Western Conference Finals in 2022, but like Dort made Luka work his ass off in that 2024 Western Conference semi series. Like that was a brutal matchup. And I think specifically having a guy like that, that's like, oh, we have one of only a small handful of guys that can make Luka Doncic uncomfortable when you're in the same Western Conference with him and he's with the Lakers. So the Lakers always just end up like falling ass backwards into talent. So like there's a certain amount of, I think that like, I'll give you an example. I thought he did an unbelievable job on Kevin Durant on opening night.
I
I thought
agree.
he did
Yeah,
an
100%.
unbelievable job on Pascal Siakam in the second game. Like, there's a certain amount of like he just is one of those. I think I would argue he's the best perimeter defender in the game, and I
I
think
mean,
there
I would
is a great deal of
probably
value
agree.
there.
But I also think like if needed to, I feel like I think J-Dub is a phenomenal defender. Like just a phenomenal perimeter like pickup defender. Like I think like he can give you like 90% of what like the extra 10% is like that's the whole thing, you know? Like I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah, I mean Dort would be a huge miss because like he's our best matchup against like Luca. Like and look, I mean not to like go crazy, but like the teams I'm afraid of the most in the West, Denver, Lakers, Houston. Those 3 teams. I just because like Houston's size scares me, Jokic scares the shit out of me, and Lucas scares the shit out of me. So like without Dort, I do I am yeah, I am worried about that because I just think players like Caruso and Wallace are just way too small and Luka's just gonna get whatever he wants.
To your point though, like I do think Chet and J Dub are above him. Like
Yeah.
they certainly are. I think what J Dub brings is like AJ Mitchell and his ability to get downhill, racking closeouts or coming off of a dribble handoff or something going to his left hand, and his ability to make the passing reads and to finish at the rim. That's valuable. Aaron Wiggins, his higher level closeout attacking, the ability to hit a little off the dribble three when a guy closes out short on him. Those sorts of things are valuable. But there's a certain amount of like J-Dub is one of the best guys in the league at getting to the basket. And when he can counter that with his pull-up jump shot, he legitimately, I had him as a top 20 player in the NBA. So
Yeah.
like, it's
think
let's
about
not overthink it. He's awesome. You need him,
think about what he was doing in that game 5 in the finals with a broken hand. Like he was going downhill and just like getting whatever he wants. Like that was,
Yeah,
yeah,
ever since Game 7 against Denver, he was phenomenal. All right, let's see what Philly's got here.
interesting action.
Yeah, a little dribble weave and
Gets a foul.
nice little move.
The thing that everybody in the league needs to look out for it if you're afraid of a OKC dynasty. What's going on with the Clippers? Are they just really bad? If the Clippers are really bad, you guys are screwed. You guys are in trouble. Big trouble.
I think that all of their older vets came into the year out of shape. Like Kawhi is fine. To me, Kawhi, it's less that he came into camp out of shape and more that he just legitimately is on the backside of the hill.
Yeah.
But like Chris Paul hasn't been very good to start the year. James Harden hasn't been as good as he's capable of being to start the year. Like they've got a lot of guys that like if you set them up with talent, supremely gifted talent on the front end,
Oh
that
my
can
god.
not a great possession there from Drummond on the offensive glass.
This is amazing. I love watching this. This is great basketball.
Yeah, he got back in transition defense and got in front of Scotty Barnes there. That was disgusting.
Move by Edgecombe. That was gross.
Whoa, that was disgusting. That like quick, it was almost like a off the dribble jab left and go, but at full speed.
It's been so impressive. Like, he stepped right in right away.
He just moves different, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Oh, bad closeout on quickly.
Wide open 3. No good. Yeah, I feel bad. Talking about rookies, I feel so bad for Cooper Flag.
I know. I was talking about
feel
that
so
earlier with
bad.
Mike. Like to me, like Cooper's going to be the kind of guy that struggles if he's not surrounded by talent at this phase in his career because he's very much like a force multiplier.
He's what, 18, 19? Is he even 19 yet?
I think he's 18. No, I think he's 19. I think he's 19.
Like, he's just like
18. Mike says he's 18.
They're asking him to do stuff he's just not ready to do it at NBA level yet, and then they're confused on why he's not performing at the level.
That's disgusting. Wow. He just like this dawned on me early in the season, even when he wasn't really hitting those little tougher mid-range ones, but he gets great separation on those little short-range scoring moves. Good contest. Tough shot, RJ Barrett.
Yeah, because Mike wasn't he like he came in a year early, didn't he? Like I think he reclassified, so he was technically like a senior in high school playing college ball, but man,
yeah, he plays such a mature style of basketball for a guy his age that I think it's kind of hard to remember sometimes that he's that young. But like, I look at him as like the kind of guy where like if you put him, let's say for instance that they didn't make the Luka trade and they had Luka and he was playing as like this connective second side guy. Like he'd be so perfect in that kind of role at this phase in his career because his strengths are he's a great defensive player who plays passing lanes well, can guard multiple positions. He's a guy that can make reads, driving closeouts, and has good like dribble pass decision making at various spots on the floor. Like if you could gift wrap him advantages, he'd be awesome right now. But right now he's not getting many advantages, and when he tries to create, he doesn't have the jump shot for it right now.
Yeah, I haven't seen much Mavs, but I did watch obviously the game against OKC, and he looked terrible. And
Yeah.
I felt really bad for him because he was going up against some of the best perimeter defenders in the league, and he's trying to create off the dribble, and it's not in his game quite yet at that against like a team as good as us. So
Yep.
yeah, it's just sucked, and the Mavs are a disaster. It just hits me so much like this time last year, I was terrified of that team. Like, even though I thought
right?
we were better, like, I was like, I don't wanna play that team. I don't want to play Luka. Like, I think they're phenomenal. And
Dude,
he's
VJ's
taking
cutting
over.
them up, man.
And the whole team is just gone. Like, it's just gone. Like,
Yeah,
there's nothing left.
Dude,
It's
no,
crazy.
Mavs fans arguably had the worst year of any sports fan that I can remember. That's absolutely brutal.
It's hard to get worse.
To go from to being 3 wins away from winning the championship to like staring down the barrel of a full rebuild. Good
We have
rebuild,
one of their
Embiid.
picks, so I hope it's a full rebuild. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I mean they could do like a pivot around trading Anthony Davis and maybe some of their other veteran role players.
Yeah, they would. I mean, they would have to fire Nico before they trade AD. Otherwise, it looks.
Oh my God,
Wow.
is that like Baji that just kind of over pursued there on the weak side? Let's see. Ingram.
Damn.
Dude, Ingram's jump shot, as soon as he gets outside of like 17 feet, it just falls off a cliff.
It's crazy.
He's DeRozan, essentially. He's bigger, taller DeRozan.
If you really think about it, like the Lakers, like I was hearing like I think it was Nick Wright talk about this. Basically, the Lakers traded Lonzo, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram, and like 4 firsts for a championship and Luka.
I know. Dude, I was thinking about this with the guys in the Lakers collective pod the other day. Like, it is impossible to overstate how much Nico literally saved the Lakers from another decade of mediocrity.
They were
with that
so
trade.
screwed. They were done. It was
They were
it was done. They were done. I don't
We
know
have a
what
super
they were
chat
gonna
from
do.
Mal. Shout out Mal. Thank you so much for the super chat. LA's got to use their picks to get off of Vando, Gabe, Kleba, and Dalton. The pipe dream of Giannis next summer isn't worth tanking $35 million of salary this season. I generally agree, as long as you're bringing back a player that has a static value. So, for instance, like let's say that they packaged Kleba, Gabe, Vando, or some combination of those guys for a guy like Herb Jones with draft picks. So, like let's say you give up a first and a swap for Herb. That's a guy that, like, if you had to turn around and trade him, his value is roughly going to be either another talented young player in a first or like salary filler, a first and a swap, some combination of assets that like you're going to be able to flip and get the same value for. The point being, like, let's say that if something came up and Giannis was the target of a trade, you could theoretically use a guy like Herb Jones to sweeten the pot. And then if you don't get Giannis, you've got the 3 of the future. And like you could be like, our future starting lineup is Austin, Luka, Herb, Rui, and Ayton, or maybe a different center at some point in the future if Ayton wears out his welcome, like he almost certainly will eventually do. So like there's a certain amount of you got to think big picture for what kind of player you're looking for. The last thing I'll say about it is this: like, I think with Luka, once you have that secondary guy, so whether it was Brunson in 2022, or it's Kyrie in 2024, or it's Austin Reeves now, once you have that, I really think it's all play finishing talent that can defend. Like, I don't think, for instance, I think Giannis's value add to a guy like, let's say that the Hawks traded for him and they partnered him with Trae Young. I think Giannis's value add to the Hawks would be more than it would be joining Luka. Not to say that Giannis and Luka will go win a championship. I'm not trying to say that they wouldn't. But what I am saying is that I think specifically with Luka, there's a lot of value in role player talent because he's an offense on himself, in and of himself. You know, like there's a lot of like diminishing returns you get with Luka combined with another star compared to some other guys combined with another star. Do you agree, Will?
Yeah, I mean 100%. I mean you saw it in Dallas. Like he made guys like PJ Washington and Derrick Jones like
Is that a 5-second call?
He made, yeah, I think it was.
Wow.
That's unfortunate. They're falling apart down the stretch. He made PJ Washington and Derrick Jones Jr. a ton of money.
Yeah,
I don't know
absolutely.
I don't know what Derrick Jones' contract with the Clippers was, but he should have got. I mean, he played really well in the playoffs, and PJ Washington got a huge deal. And those were basically specifically because of the opportunities they got with Luka as like spot up shooters.
Yeah, it was interesting because, like, and when you dig into it, like, one of the interesting, that was a big shot from Tyrese that basically ices this. One of the things that I thought was interesting too about that playoff run was, like, so you can remember, Will, as a Thunder fan, one of the storylines in that series was the Thunder put SGA on PJ and basically had him roam. And so PJ got a lot of wide open corner threes off of the kickouts from Luka. It was like one of the big subplots of the series is Luka just torched the Thunder for helping off of PJ, just repeatedly hitting the corner, including for the play that won the series that where Shea fouled him, right? So like, then you go to the Boston series and suddenly they put Tatum on the big man. And so now all of a sudden they have to start running their ball screens with PJ and with Derrick Jones Jr. And the specific issue those two guys had was when they were popping out of ball screens to the top of the key, they couldn't hit above the break threes. And so that's the thing is, like, did they lose to Boston because they didn't have a second star? No, I thought they lost to Boston for two reasons. One, Luka couldn't guard in space, and that's kind of a unique problem Boston presents. Like, I don't think there's a single team in the league that can target Luka the way that Boston did in this field. You know what I mean? Like, every other team, there's going to be a certain amount of, like, you can offer help, and you're not going to get picked apart for wide open catch and shoot threes the way that Boston did. Like, that was such a unique lineup that Boston had that doesn't exist anymore. But the second piece of it was their role players couldn't hit above the break three. So it's like, let's say Derrick Jones Jr. is a 40% above the break shooter and Luka's a better defender, and or you're playing against a different team. Let's say it's the 2022 Celtics, who are running a lot of, like, Robert Williams and Marcus Smart, Grant Williams, like guys that are like guys that you feel more comfortable helping off of in catch and shoot situations. Maybe all of a sudden you have enough and you're hoisting the trophy. So, like, I think specifically with team construction around Luka, I think that it's more important to just have really solid role player talent that can hit catch and shoot threes from various spots on the floor out of different types of setups, depending on what your opponent's doing. And then having a secondary ball handler, which I think Austin's playing at a top 20 level right now. So, like, I don't think they need. That's not to say that, like, yeah, if you can go get Giannis, go get Giannis. I'm just saying, like, I view it as a long shot, and I don't necessarily think he's the what they absolutely have to have in order to win the title.
Has there been genuine buzz on Giannis, or is it just like Lakers fans manifesting stuff?
It's Lakers fans manifesting stuff, but I mean, like,
it worked with
dude,
Luka.
The thing with the Lakers fans is, like, everyone told them they weren't going to get Anthony Davis, remember? Because it was like, oh, like, Boston wants him and AD wants to play with Kyrie and blah, 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 blah. And then guess what happened? That they didn't get, Boston didn't get AD. The Lakers got AD. And they're like, how do you look a Laker fan in the face? I'm going to switch over to Blazers Heat. How do you look a Laker fan in the face and tell them that they're not going to get what they want when that happened? Like, how do you like look at them in the face and tell them that, like, Lakers' exceptionalism is alive and well right now?
Yeah, they just, like, it doesn't matter how bad like the roster building is, how many mistakes Pelinka makes. He just kind of stumbles into a rake, and the rake is Luka Doncic, I guess. Imagine, like, being the GM of a basketball team, and Nico Harrison calls you and says, "Hey, you want Luka?" Yes.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Like
I just imagine. Can you imagine Rob trying to keep it cool in that conversation? He's like sitting at the bar, like, "Oh yeah, dude, I'm not a big Rob Pelinka guy, but one of the most impressive things that I've ever seen Rob Pelinka do is somehow manage to convince Nico that he needed to keep a first round pick and that he needed to keep certain
Austin
players.
Reeves.
Yeah,
how was Austin Reeves not the trade? Like, it's so crazy.
Super impressive, dude.
He's like, Nico, man, you really are. I mean, I am taking a risk here. I mean, he's 500 pounds. You're telling me he's 500 pounds. He can't dribble. Like, wow. I mean, I'm really taking a big risk here, Nico. Like, oh my god,
dude, it's been crazy too. Luka looks like a completely different dude than he was last year. Good ball pressure. So the nice little sequence from the Blazers, we get Drew Holiday attacks a switch, gets into the paint, draws help, kicks out to Denny Avdia. Denny hits like a tough three with his body weight leaning backwards. And then we push out the other direction and they force a turnover with their ball pressure. And now the Blazers are up by 2.
I don't get the Jovic stuff. I
Me
don't
neither. I've
get it.
never been a big Jovic fan.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's just like the Lakers. Like, you can build the team in like 4 different ways, and the Lakers invented a 5th way, which is just like we just get the best player on the planet every decade. Like
Literally.
they were in
They went from Shaq and Kobe to Kobe and Pau to LeBron and AD to now Luka and LeBron.
Yeah, they had a 5-year window where they tried to build their own team and they failed. And then LeBron was like, "Hey, like I'll come join you guys. Like I want to play for the Lakers because the brand is so big."
Literally
And
just because
then,
he wanted to.
yeah, just because he wanted to be out in LA and the brand is still the brand. And then he's able to get AD, and then AD 5 years later somehow gets them a superstar on the rise. It's just I don't know.
I'm not sure if you guys have had a chance to check out the Lakers book yet. The Hollywood ending, but in that book they pretty explicitly lay out that like Magic Johnson went around telling everybody that he was the reason LeBron signed, but LeBron was like, "Nah, I was going no matter what. I was going no matter what." Trendon Watford with a 20, 17, and 10 tonight. All of these forwards playing off of Philly Stars, I think, have done a really nice job cleaning up the messes that those guys have created with their speed. A couple of big buckets from VJ Edgecombe at the end of that game,
Yeah,
too.
he looks so good.
He does.
Jason, I can't believe, like, have you seen like the outpouring of Chicago Bulls fans like telling Thunder fans we got fleeced in the Giddey Caruso trade? Like, what is this about? What is this? What is going on?
Yeah, first of all, I don't think Thunder fans or the Thunder front office is regretting their decision after
No,
hoisting the Larry O'Brien trophy, and Alex Caruso was just an absolute monster for you guys the entire
absolutely not.
playoff run. Secondly, I'm not buying the Giddey hype to start the season. He's been fine. I'm not trying to sit here and pretend like some of the stat lines that he's put up are nothing burgers. I'm just saying that I am not seeing Luka Doncic level surgical short range shot making that would drive an elite half court offense. And they haven't been an elite half court offense. They've been winning because they kind of have like an interesting defensive scheme where they're chasing teams off the 3-point line and conceding some stuff in the paint. And they're shooting the 3 ball extremely well, and they're playing in transition. They literally are dominating teams in transition. So like that, good for them. Giddey's doing a good job. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's the kind of guy that if he's your best offensive player, you're going to be doing much in the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like unless he evolves kind of his style, and if the shooting, I mean, like the big kind of thing here is if the shooting, like he's shooting 42% through 9 games or through like 8 games or whatever. If that continues, then I think he could be a little better. But I mean, the problem with Giddey was always that he couldn't play off Shea.
Yeah.
He just couldn't. He couldn't play off Shea.
And now he can. I think he could now. He's a much better catch and shoot player now. But I also think it was the right decision for OKC. I think they benefited more from Caruso.
Wow.
What a rotation from Davion Mitchell. Let me put this more aggressively. That was a huge play from Davion Mitchell to generate that 3. They just smoked it. I would rather have Denny Avdia than Josh Giddey.
I mean,
I think Denny's a better player. I know that's going to piss some people off, but it's just I think Denny's got the more surgical shot making in the short range.
offensive foul.
He's got called for that a few times where he'll like drop his into that spin move and come high with the elbow. He picked up one like that against Jake LaRavia in the Lakers game. He led with that off arm. But I think Avdia, what Avdia has that Giddey doesn't is like that real size and power with like the short range game. And I think he's a little bit more of a slashing force too. Obviously not quite the passer that Giddey was, but I think I think Avdi is a pretty good passer. I don't know.
Davion Mitchell having a moment here.
You remember the Davion is having a moment. You remember the game you guys just lost the other night in Portland. I mean, Denny picked you guys apart as a passer in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, he started the game really bad, and then he kind of figured it out as the game went on. Yeah, I don't know. I think you raise an interesting point. Like I follow a lot of soccer, and in soccer, like there are a subsect of like people who just care about like what they call P&P or pace and power. It's like how strong you are, how fast you are. It's basically going to determine in the long run how good you perform for your team in specific positions, like in the forward lines. So like it could be the case that like if you're a primary ball handler, like you need some level of like superpower, like as like either your strength, like what I feel like has carried Luka for majority of his career is he's just bigger than a lot of these guards.
You're absolutely
He's just
right.
gonna lodge them off their
Yeah.
base and get to his shot every single time. But Giddey's kind of in this in between zone where he's not really fast enough to get to his spots, and he's not really strong enough to dislodge people. So he kind of, I could definitely see that 100%.
So we have a comment from Harkin on YouTube who says Giddey is super young, and this is true, but like my thing is like it's all relative. Like as young as Giddey is, when Luka was his age, he was doing a lot more. He was doing a lot more as like a crafty shot maker. He had like this kind of like alpha dog personality too. Like again, like I think what Giddey has done this year is he's made he's making 25 million. Is that a huge deal? No, I think we can work with this. He's made that doable with the level he's reached, and obviously he has to maintain it. But like I just am not seeing him as the kind of guy where if he's your best player on the best offensive player on your team, I don't think you're gonna. And by the way, this is not. They're shooting the shit out of the basketball to start the year, and they haven't been a very good half court offense. So there's that too. By the way, I have not watched their butt kicking of the Cavs tonight, so I don't want any judgment. I haven't had a chance to see that one yet.
This is interesting.
Oh, they're tied.
Nate says Denny isn't better than Franz. That's an interesting one. Like I'm not super high on either of the Magic forwards, like Franz or Paulo. I'm not like in love with either of them. I just think they're good.
Paulo's kind of got me off of his scent this year with some of his just like, frankly, just foolish approach to
He
offense.
hasn't evolved as a decision maker at all. It's disheartening because
He just makes it so much harder on him than it needs to be. And one.
Oh wow!
Big shot from Norman Powell.
Speaking of Powell, do you think the Clippers made a mistake with the move to kind of? Was it like because I know they traded Powell and then they used his salary to get what was it, Collins and Beal?
Yeah, so the idea was you make the trade, you get John Collins, but then you turn around and you get Bradley Beal for effectively nothing, right? Now I'm pulling up the numbers on Cleaning the Glass because I want to get this exactly right, but they have been awesome with John Collins on the floor. So I think it's a little bit more complicated than that.
I've heard Clippers fans say that Lou just doesn't play him a lot.
And then there's also the simple fact that, like, yeah, the lack of Norman Powell, you're going to feel that more when your stars aren't playing well because he's a good offensive player. So I think it gets a little more. Look at Denny.
Damn, he's
just a bowling ball, dude.
He's so strong.
He's got some of that Luka, like he'll slow down in the middle of the floor and kind of bump you off of your base and get to some like short range shot making. He's got good footwork on like step throughs and stuff like that. But what Denny does have that a lot of those guys don't have is he can really slash. Like Denny's got a slashing element to his game. Charge? Yep. Davion Mitchell. So the Clippers are 3.3 points better to start the season with John on the floor versus off. I'm pulling up his specific numbers here. They are -6 net with him on the floor overall. But again, as a team, I think they have a terrible net rating. Let me see.
Is that Collins?
Yeah, Collins. Yeah, the Clippers, though, as a team, currently have a -4.7 net rating in 384 minutes. So they've just been bad. So it's not really worth digging into individual blame when they've just been bad as a team overall. All right, let's see what Miami runs here. Little Jaquez screen back cut from Larson. Good deflection. Yeah, that should stay with Miami. I think that's the right call.
I mean, Jokic could be a 5-time MVP, but LeBron could also be like a 10-time MVP. Like MVP is an agenda award. This is like I don't understand, and this is kind of the thing. Like I'm not really getting worked up about MVP this year because Shea already got his MVP. Like it's
What
whatever.
a cut!
That was a really nice cut. Yeah. Like this is the thing. Like in baseball, I'm a Yankees fan, and every year Yankees fans go out and have a war on social media with whoever is trying to get Aaron Judge's MVP, which they just think should be called the Aaron Judge MVP award. Which I mean, he's phenomenal, but it's like it doesn't matter. Like to me, it doesn't matter because he's already gotten a couple MVPs, and it's not going to affect the bottom line because he has to go do it in the playoffs.
Yep.
Like I would rather see Shea win another Finals MVP than another MVP because I think he's guaranteed to get All NBA, first team All NBA this year, and that's the main accolade that kind of carries over. I don't know.
I'm generally with you, Will. Like I like the way that MVP has worked in terms of the narrative and the campaigning and the like kind of bizarro conversation around it. I'm actually going to take this a step further. NBA awards like have almost I've almost completely lost interest in them. Like a big one for me, like I like Evan Mobley. I think Evan Mobley is a really good player. I think it's absurd that he won Defensive Player of the Year last year. Like I am just over the NBA awards thing because it feels very driven by like advanced metrics, building a narrative, a lot of these things that I think get away from the core of what makes basketball. And so I'm generally off of it. And like that's the thing that's, you know, it's interesting because I remember when when LeBron was in his prime and he was actually competing for MVPs every year. Even I got to the point where I was like, I just like LeBron's never going to get one again. Like it's just not worth discussing with people.
Like
and like I thought LeBron was clearly the MVP in 2020. Like he was very clearly the best player in the league from the start of the season to the end of the season in a much tougher conference. And because Giannis was beating the shit out of a bunch of really bad teams in the East, they just couldn't see through the metrics. And it was like everyone's like, well, Giannis is per 36 numbers and this advanced metric here, it's like they're playing the damn Charlotte Hornets every 4 nights a year. Like this is garbage. But you just gotta and you're gonna be dealing with that, man, because like Shea's playing like an MVP right now. He may never get one again, you know. Like
and there's a lot of great players who have only gotten a couple of, like it's not an indictment. Like I mean it's just like, you know, it's just whoever runs, like I don't know if I don't think the foul baiting stuff is gonna affect him. I mean, it didn't last year, but I just think it's gotten so loud that it might just the buzz just might like bother some voters and like I don't know, like it just sucks, man.
This lady next to the Blazers bench has like a Great Gatsby red dress on. Are you seeing this? Although it's dark now, you can't see shit.
They pan no.
She had like a giant like feathered scarf that was like 12 feet long by like 3 feet wide. That was like wrapped around her.
That is great. Trey Murphy has 40
right now.
Yes.
Damn.
They're down by 6.
Okay. In the Spurs game, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's just really it's also reactionary, which is so annoying. Like I remember when Jokic won his first MVP, and I followed like First Things First, like the show on FS1 with like Nick Wright.
Yeah, Nick Wright's amazing.
Nick Wright came on the next day and was like, Jokic is like the worst MVP since I don't even know who he said. Is it Bob Cousy or something? I don't.
Yeah, I don't agree. I love Nick. I don't agree with that take.
Well, no, I mean obviously now it's like aged horribly, but like even at the time, it's just like everything needs to be the worst or the best or like everything. Like it's just I don't know.
It's kind of the way everyone is. Hey, Will, I want to get this. I have one more caller I want to get to. Orlando's been waiting for a while. I want to get to him before the end of this game. But dude, it was good to see you. I'm going to be back on Wednesday night for Thunder Lakers. Would love to have you come hang out for a little bit for that one.
Yeah, I'll be around. All right.
All right, buddy.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you again. I
All right,
hope you had a
good to
good
see you,
summer.
Jason.
We'll see you in a few days.
All right. See ya.
All right, Orlando, thank you for being patient, man. We're gonna watch the end of this game together. We'll zero in on the game, but on stoppages, we can shoot the shit, talk some hoops. Let's look at our comments here for a second. Pelicans got it back to 3. Here we go. Norm Powell baseline drive, turned it over. Good little wall up there from Denny Avdia to force the turnover. Cut from Kling and good little rotation from Davion Mitchell again. Mitchell's everywhere here down the stretch. Klinging okay? Yeah, it looks like it. I'm going to show a replay here. I'd love to see if he got fouled. Mike, I'm not going to... Or actually, I'll just play it real quick. I want to see this JJ video. Just not a lot to like tonight.
Hello?
Orlando, what's up, man?
What's up, Jason? Hey, man, I just want to let you know I'm a big fan. I've been watching for about a year now. Love your content, man. You're one of the best out there right now. Really
I really
insightful
appreciate
content,
that, man. I really appreciate you supporting the show and for coming to hang out. Who's your team?
I'm a Celtics fan.
Okay. How do you feel about the Celtics to start the year?
I was actually going to ask you about that because, it's pretty rough right now. I think Jalen Brown's been doing the absolute best he can, but I don't think there's much hope for us this season. Bill Simmons threw this out, I think, earlier this week, and it looks like he's really considering a Derek White trade. What do you think about that? What do you think about the Celtics possibly giving up Derek White this season?
The reason why that was a big play there from Jaime. The reason why I'm not super high on moving Derek White, unless you get blown away by a trade package. If you do, then sure. But I actually thought one of the best actions that the Celtics had last year, and I should really say over the last couple of years, was that Derek White, Jason Tatum 2-man game, where either Tatum was the ball handler and Derek slipping out of it, or Derek's the ball handler and Tatum slipping out of it. That was a big way they would get dribble penetration for a team that struggled to get dribble penetration too. Mm-hmm. I genuinely think that those two are kind of like a foundational offensive like construct for the team. I look at, like, if you ask me who like the foundational like pillars are of the Celtics that you can't move on from anytime soon, it would be White, Brown, and Tatum. I think those are the three guys you get. I think everything about this is Pritchard and Hauser, are they guys that we can move for certain amounts of value to get a front court piece? Who's going to be the starting center next season? Who's going to be the other backcourt partner alongside Derek White? What is that? Pritchard? Is it not Pritchard? Like, those are the kinds of questions that Boston needs to answer this particular season. I do think that they're better than they've shown to start this year. I think that Derek, for instance, is going to play better than he's played to start the season. They've struggled with like basic things like defensive rebounding. There are a lot of like little things that I think that they can improve on, and I think they're going to hover around 500, and that's fine. Like, I mean, honestly, given the guys that you lost, were you expecting more, to start the season? I know that there's a certain amount of like strong culture can carry you to a certain point, but they just have such a limited front court. I mean, you guys lost a game earlier this year because Xavier Tillman had to close the game for you. Like, there's a good amount of talent differential that you guys are dealing with every single night in your front court.
Yeah, it's totally rough. Chris Boucher, when he was starting at the beginning of the year, there's so much give and take with him. I love his athleticism on the defensive end, but on offense, there were some really bad turnovers early on for the opening games of the season, and I was really happy to see them switch it up and start Josh Minot instead. I think it's a big.
Yeah, Minot's helped. He's kind of like the poor man's role player version of Jason Tatum in the sense that he's a forward that can just check a lot of boxes, and he just helps him a lot. That was a huge driving kick from Davion Mitchell to Andrew Wiggins in the left corner. Jaime toasted the layup. That's a big sequence if they can pay this off. Kamara,
oh, man.
I didn't love that shot. I like Kamara when he's got his feet set. I think he forced that a little bit. Davion's made all kinds of big plays at the end of this game.
I've loved Davion since the play-in tournament last year. I've
been
paying very close attention to him since then.
He'd be a good Celtic. What is Jovic doing?
Oh my goodness.
That was like the least Miami Heat possession that I can ever remember seeing.
Yeah.
Just no movement, no drive, no nothing. Just Jovic chucking up a 27-footer off the bounce. Any other? Give me one more big NBA take before we call it a night.
I guess just one more question. What do you think Wemby can do to combat the way teams are guarding him now? You know, we saw how the Suns guarded him, and now it seems like other teams are starting to mimic that. You know, double teaming him in the pinch post and not allowing him to keep the ball on the floor, forcing him to pick it up and pass it out. What do you think he can do in order to combat that?
So on an individual level, there's a certain amount of like just being strong with the basketball that like there were a couple plays over the course of his previous 3 games where he had turnovers that were not necessarily the spacing's fault. It was just he didn't handle the pressure. So there's a certain amount of like he just needs to get stronger with the basketball. Embrace it for what it is. It's a good thing. You're getting double teamed. The team is deciding to devote extra resources at you. They're sending 2 men at the ball every time. That should be a strong foundation for an offense. So he's got to figure out how to handle it physically. The second piece of it, and I actually think that they're starting to figure this out. Mitch Johnson started to figure this out, which is basically just keep him at the high post rather than the low post, and then make his reads really simple by keeping everybody in really strong scoring position with your best options one pass away. So, for instance, if he's attacking at the right elbow, and they've been doing this a lot over the course of the last few games, but like Steph Castle will throw the high post entry to the right elbow, and he'll cut through to the weak side dunker spot. And then basically, Denny, that's a tough one, man. Holy cow. Anyway, they'll run Steph Castle through to the opposite dunker spot. And then they'll usually keep like Harrison Barnes or Julian Champagnie in the strong side corner, 2 really good corner 3-point shooters.
Yeah.
And then they'll put Devin Vassell, the other guy in the horn set who's at the elbow. They'll extend him out above the break on the opposite wing. And so then when Wemby turns and faces, it becomes really simple decision-making process. Like, oh, if I rip through to the right and they help off the strong side corner, I've got an easy kick out to Harrison Barnes, right? If I rip through and they don't help, the rim protector is Steph Castle's man. So it's probably going to be a guard. So I'm not dealing with a super tall person at the basket there.
No.
If I rip left and they help off, I have Devin Vassell, who's a good above the break 3-point shooter, 1 pass away. It just kind of simplifies the sequence. But the second piece of it is, and we talked about this a little bit earlier in the stream today, but like, I think De'Aaron Fox allowing them to use Wemby more as an off-ball scorer because he can set him up in the pocket more. I think that's going to be key. And it's something that they really struggled with last season in the small sample, albeit only 5 games. But I do want to see in a larger sample if Fox can help set him up for some easy shots. But Orlando, thanks so much for supporting the show, man. I appreciate you rocking with us for as long as you have, and I appreciate you coming and hang out. And I appreciate your patience tonight as you had to wait a little while. But it was good to see you, and I hope to see you back on another stream later this year.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Let's see. We're going to finish this game, guys, and then we're going to call it a night. Is Denny going to get 3 free throws for that garbage attempt? I don't know why he forced such a difficult 3 so early. Mike's right. We'll probably head over for Cavs Bulls. A little bonus basketball. I'm going to switch over there right now, and then we'll kind of move back and forth. That was a clear foul. Trae Jones was just getting super handsy with him 40 feet from the basket. Don't love that. Looks like they're not in the penalty, though. That's good news. All right, let's see what the Cavs run here. Is Darius Garland out for some reason? Is he just sitting in load management? Is that what the deal is? How to explain how the Bulls got such a big lead to begin with. See, all these short closeouts, they're kind of just driving into these short closeouts. That's why they're not getting anything easy out of it. Stepped out. Giddey's pissed off because he thinks he got pushed. No Garland? Let me see. Yeah, Garland's not playing tonight. Any word on when Max Strus is coming back? Hunter, wide open. Oh, he smoked it. See how hard they're gapping? That's a foul. It's a good call. He came down on his arm. D Million says, I guess LeBron should come off the bench still, right? Yeah, the amount of galaxy braining the LeBron situation that I've seen over the course of the last few weeks has been pretty hilarious. No doubt about that. All right, 5-point game. Let's see what the Cavs run for offense. Darius Garland is just so good at getting that like first little bit of dribble penetration that breaks the defense, and I think that's what the Cavs miss the most. Very nice closeout from Kevin Huerter, but got his hand caught in the cookie jar. Kalen, I 100% agree with you, man. Kalen says people pretending adding LeBron to the Lakers will not help is insane. For starters, we literally saw them together last year. And like, I understand you lose to Minnesota. It's not pretty. A fat version of Luka doesn't have a good series and consistently runs out of gas in the fourth quarter of every game. Austin has a bad series. A bunch of role players down the roster have bad series. It just wasn't pretty. And I get that kind of like changes the complexion of how the team is viewed, but like that team also like marched into Oklahoma City and kicked their ass. You know, like that's a team that showed a lot of really high level play on both ends of the floor before LeBron hurt his foot and even after. And so like I think it's all I thought when I saw them. Wow, I need to see a replay on that one. I'm not sure if he got fouled. I think there's a certain amount of like empowerment that comes from larger opportunity, and that extends beyond LeBron. Like you don't think Austin goes for 90 points in 2 games in large part because it's not just LeBron's out, it's Luka and LeBron is out, right? Like it's obviously guys absorb more usage when guys are out of the lineup and they have more success statistically, but like the team has the potential with LeBron, Austin, and Luka on the floor to scratch like a 125 offensive rating. That's the potential they have. And that is a kind of lineup that could win a championship. And that's why it's something that all I thought when I saw the beginning of the season was like, oh my God, it's awesome that they can bank these wins in the Western Conference standings with the guys that have been out of the lineup. Look at Donovan Mitchell. Big shot. All right, let's see what Chicago runs here. Something to keep an eye on. Vucevic is 7 for 10 this season on clutch shots. Giddey smoked it. But they've been situating him a lot in off-ball situations like that in the corner. That was how he beat the Sixers, if you remember. Mitchell, another easy one, just snaked Vucevic in the pick and roll. The Bulls have been sliced and diced in the paint to start this season. Slow down. Don't do anything stupid. Okay. Trae Jones, Kevin Huerter, switch. Vooch, ball screen, switch. Vooch has got to go to Merrill in the post. Get the ball into Merrill against Merrill. Don't love that shot. Yeah, you got to get the ball into Vooch there when he's got Merrill on the switch. Screen from Tyson, switch. And one! Little 7-0 run, solo 7-0 run from Donovan Mitchell. Wow. What a catch, too. That was a tough pass. I didn't really see much of a foul there, but we're going to go ahead and let that slide. The slightest little bump. All right, 2-point game. Switch. Mobley's on Giddey now. Herter's on Merrill. Oh my goodness. I need to see the replay here. So again, Vooch gets DeAndre Hunter on the switch. So in theory, he's trying to beat the switch by getting an offensive rebound. Let's see if he knocked him over. Oh my goodness. Like, yeah, kind of, but boy, did DeAndre Hunter flop on that one. He missed his last jump shot long from 3. Let's see if he gets it cleaned up on the free throw line. Yes, he does. Got to make one more. Any notes before we get out of here? We're going to be closing the stream down here in about a minute. Any thoughts from you guys on how we could make this better? Obviously, this is just our first one. I want to make this as much of an enjoyable experience for you guys as possible. Any feedback, constructive criticism, anything like that, drop it in the chat so that we can give a better show for you guys on Wednesday. Highlights from other games. I wonder if I can do that through. I'll figure out. I'm going to get in touch with Mike about the possibility of playing video from because I think Sam Esfandiari was telling me about how I can essentially play a video clip that I've downloaded and share it on screen. So yeah, we're going to work on some of that stuff. Just keep dropping your comments in here. I'll come back and look at it. I am going to go hang out with my wife and have some dinner. And then I have all day off tomorrow, which I'm very much looking forward to after a very busy week. And then for you Hoops Tonight listeners, we'll be back on Monday morning with power rankings. Shot a Kid says guest appearances from time to time. This is something I'm already planning on. I've got, I'm going to start kind of thinking about specific people that would be good kind of like co-hosts for specific games for specific opponents. So we're going to have that. We'll have more of that sort of thing as we get further into this, as we get this thing off the ground. Oh, we got one more super chat. You said that J-Dub has the potential to be better than Shea a couple of seasons ago. Do you still feel that way? Love the show, by the way. Best out there. Thank you so much for supporting the show, and thank you for the super chat. The thing that got me so excited about J-Dub was the combination of downhill force with shot making and playmaking. And frankly, I think Shea has just taken such a dramatic leap over the last 2 years as like maybe the best scorer in the league, while also being a guy that's taking steps as a playmaker And he's just become so damn good that I think it's a little insurmountable for J-Dub. But J-Dub, dude, don't slouch at him having 40 points in a finals game. He certainly is capable of being a lot better than I think he is right now. But Shai's just setting a really high bar. All right, guys, I am going to call it a night. Again, this was a lot of fun. I really appreciate you guys coming out and rocking with us and supporting us. Again, drop any comments you guys have about how we can make these streams better. I will come back and look at the comment list in a day or so. Again, I appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys on Monday morning for our normal Hoops Tonight show. I'll see you guys then.